That's life, that's what people say. You can be flying high in April, shot down in May. I ain't gonna let it get me down, as long as this big old world keeps us spinning round. Don't you know that's life? Hey baby, yeah, that's what people say. They be flying high in April, shot down in May. I ain't gonna let it get me down, as long as this big old world keeps us spinning round. I've been a puppet, a pirate, a pauper, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and around. I learned one thing each time I find myself falling flat on my face. I just pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. Hey baby, funny how it may seem, I've seen people get their kicks stomping on a drain.
Right now, it's 67 degrees. Tonight, expect a low of 47 degrees.
As long as this big old world keeps us spinning round.
Hello, hi, welcome to Coffee with Curmudgeons on Monday, it's June 4th, 2018. I'm never supposed to say that. I don't know why. Oh, because it's like, just in case you're watching this, like, I don't know, December 14th, 2035.
That's right.
On your virtual console, in your jacked in to your brain. Jacked in. What are you doing? I'm watching old Coffee with Curmudgeons. Are they in black and white? Maybe. I'm here with Jason Allen. Hi.
Hi, I'm not a hologram. I'm real. Hello, everybody.
No, but
yes,
we're working on new technology to replace you with a hologram.
Right. And
AI.
Right. And before we came on the air, you guys missed a science experiment. Doc was trying to download straight to my brain.
Oh, no.
And so he was shoving wires up my nose to see if we could connect any sort of...
No, man, it's so Westworld. You don't even know, man, Westworld. Like, I have this pad here.
Yes.
You have to take this off, right? I mean, I have this pad right here, which actually is running this show right now.
Yeah.
That pad right there with the buttons on it.
It's kind of a big remote control.
Yeah, it needs to be a little bit bigger, but then I can put your brain in there. Ooh. Westworld. Jason, let me up the funny.
The wife would say that you do not need to increase the size to put my brain in there.
Yeah.
She says it'll fit just fine.
No, I mean, it's like I could put like accent, and there's the picture of Jason with your face.
It's like max headroom.
Yeah.
I could be sitting there like,
But on the pad, I would have the like I have over here.
Yeah.
The virtual faders, and then I'd be like, funny, increase the funny. Okay, time for the show, increase the funny. And then it'd be like, do, and then you'd suddenly...
It would all just end with my big face right in the middle of the screen. I don't know. To hold
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
you watch the Westworld.
Oh yeah,
You've been watching it.
I'm rewatching them all again just to make sure I'm all caught up now.
Pad,
yeah,
those little iPads,
they're awesome. Little hologram things come up
and
they're like swirling. Yeah,
right. And so like they're like, okay, well, time for the show. Let's make Jason really funny right now.
Sweet,
right? And it's right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean.
And there's your picture. I mean, that's what they do in the Westworld. They have those iPads. I'm not...
I would last like 2 seconds in Westworld,
Well, I think everyone would last 2 seconds in Westworld.
My whole line in there, I'd be walking out on some boardwalk, dressed in my little Cubs hat. People were staring at me, and I'm like, hey, where's the 7-Eleven?
I just realized something. Okay, when I was growing up... This is just like, again, how old is this guy again? I don't know. He's like 78,
Ish.
When I was growing up, oh, look, I turned off the voicemail. So actually, if someone were to call live, we're going to really get that call-in thing going. Someone would call in live, would be live on the air. But anyway, oh, that's good. Let me just drop my phone.
Monday.
Good thing, though, I got the drop phone. This is the phone that you can throw across the room.
Oh.
Yeah. Ooh. Throw it, people.
Like a Chinese
and it still works. That's the phone for me.
Right.
Not these flimsy iPhone 7s or whatever.
If you even look at them funny, they're...
chair's not right either. Okay, so... by the way, this is just the exposition.
Yes.
We get into the thematics, the motifs, and the themes of the show later.
Yeah, stick with us, folks.
But anyway, when I was a kid, right, the main thing, like little kid on up and then into repeats and all that, the main science fiction shows that we watched were Star Trek and Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Pretty much, yeah.
But it was Star Trek, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was smattering of everyone's like, remember Buck Rogers in the 23rd century?
I'm talking about
Battlestar Galactica. But you're right, the go-to classic was always Star Trek.
Really,
always.
I mean, even, it predated Star Wars, so it was, it was really the granddaddy.
Yeah, 66, right?
Yeah, the 60s. Yeah. So the stuff that we saw on Star Trek was all stuff that we'd go, that's neat.
Yeah.
I hope we have that in the future.
Yeah, the tricorder, the little blip thing, where they
communicator.
The communicator, even their cool fancy
and they had a pad they wrote on.
Yes.
And then the other thing is when they want to get something from the computer, well, they had discs. Remember, they kind of had those weird square discs.
Yeah.
Just like discs.
Yeah.
They ended up looking like later like 3.5-inch floppy drives. But and then when they really wanted to interact with the computer, what'd they do? They'd say computer, you know.
Right. They had their own Alexa going on.
Echo. What's the temperature? Right.
Right now, it's 67 degrees.
See?
Tonight, expect a low of 47 degrees.
And that's what the computer would say on the bridge.
Right.
Echo, what is the current temperature of the universe?
Ooh.
I don't know. Might as well.
Here's what I found on reference.com.
Ooh, reference.com.
By taking measurements of background microwave radiation, scientists have been able to establish that the average temperature of the universe is just over 2.7 degrees Kelvin.
2.7?
This means that the average temperature of space is just below negative 450 degrees Fahrenheit.
Ooh, that's a cold one.
That's a cold one.
Yeah.
It's a little chilly.
Yeah.
Bring your jacket to space. 2.7 Kelvin is actually really cold. Do you know your Kelvin?
I do not. I am ignorant of all things Kelvin.
Okay, let me. Here's an easy primer to Kelvin.
Excellent.
Kelvin. So you have a 3. There's more. I think there's even more temperature things.
Oh,
Jason.
sure. There's
Fahrenheit, There's
Celsius.
3 scales that I can think of.
Yes.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Which we know and love here in the United States.
Yeah.
Right. Which is 32 degrees is freezing water.
Yeah.
At that's always at atmosphere, at 1 atmosphere, at sea level, right? And then what's boiling in Fahrenheit? I never know this. 200 and something, right?
Something like that. It
Echo.
is,
Echo. What is the temperature boiling point in Fahrenheit? Might as well ask the computer.
Sure.
Here's something I found from the article Fahrenheit on Wikipedia. Under this system, the Fahrenheit scale is redefined slightly so that the freezing point of water is exactly 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
We got that. We know that.
And the boiling point is exactly 212 degrees
212,
Fahrenheit, or 180 degrees higher. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for your feedback.
Okay. So we were about right. It was 212.
212, yes.
Yeah, I knew it was like in the 200s.
Yeah.
The only thing I can remember about Fahrenheit is if you want to burn books, 451.
Right. Fahrenheit for Vonnegut, right?
No.
I always
Ray
get that mixed up.
Bradbury.
Ray Bradbury. Slaughterhouse 5 is
That's correct.
Vonnegut. Yeah.
And Ray Bradbury is
451.
And the Martian Chronicles.
I love those.
Yeah, that's real good stuff. In fact, there's a 451 that's coming on cable. A remake.
Yes.
With stars on, and I can't remember. I've seen previews for it.
I have too, yeah.
So
it looks pretty good.
I want to check that out. It's an interesting story. But anyway, Illustrated Man is the other one. Bradbury.
Each tattoo.
That's one I've never read, actually.
I've read that. Yes.
Yeah.
Illustrated Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, read The Martian Chronicle.
Oh yeah.
Read 451.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit 451.
Oh yeah.
So there's that. There's Fahrenheit. We know that in the United States real well. 32 degrees is freezing. That's usually, you're looking at the temperature when you're driving and all that stuff.
212 is boiling.
212, you're looking at the temperature when you're driving going, oh, crap, it's the apocalypse.
Right. Boy, this global warming stuff sure does work.
Yeah. So Celsius is easy. And this is why... reason number 1006 why we should have converted to the metric system here in the United States.
Yeah.
Because the metric system is actually silly and easy.
It's user-friendly.
What is freezing in the Celsius system?
I'm going to take a wild stab at this. I'm going to say 0.
You would be correct.
Yes. Do I win the Oldsmobile?
0 is the equivalent of 32 degrees in Fahrenheit. So it's freezing. I think it's freezing. The definition of freezing for us humans is water.
Yes.
Regular old water, H2O, freezing at sea level at 1 atmosphere. Right. Because remember, the boiling point and the freezing
is different.
The boiling point actually goes down as you go up in the atmosphere. So if you're a Boy Scout, maybe you're a tenderloin scout.
Tenderloin.
And you might be hiking up in the mountains, up at elevation,
Maybe Colorado.
And you want to boil some water on your stove to make some freeze-dried chicken and rice.
You're hungry after a whole day
you
of
are
chasing
hungry. You
bears.
have to eat.
You know, Scout Trooper Jones, he pulls out the SpaghettiOs. It's a good time.
Here's the thing. You have to eat when you're out and surviving, because you're basically surviving. There's no, like, Carl's Jr. out there or something.
No.
There's no delivery. You got to actually pack in your food.
I know.
Or gather it, whatever. It's like real survival stuff. Otherwise, you sit there and go, I'm hungry. I lost all my food, which happens in the world of the Tenderloin Scout.
It does.
When you accidentally trip and your new bag, which you've never hiked in before because you're a Tenderloin Scout, you're new, falls over, rips open, and all your food goes tumbling down the cliff.
Right.
This happens.
There's nothing worse than being on the side of a cliff and you look down and seeing your zeg nut going to the bottom. You know, there's my snowballs. My Charleston Chew just went goodbye.
Yep. Been there, seen it, done it.
Got
the merit badge.
I would be really bad out in the wilderness because all the instances I just gave of food were candy bars.
Well, no. That's a legit thing. When you go hiking and camping, you bring, I mean, it doesn't have to be candy. It's like trail bars. You know, they got them. You go to your New Seasons and your Whole Foods or even your friend. You know, they get those kind bars.
Yeah,
those
kind bars. Good. And the trail mix, you know, they get the thing where you can just like...
You got to take all those, dude.
Well, yeah.
Because what if you can't boil water, or what if something goes wrong, or like I said, you dump half your backpack over the cliff?
Yeah.
Again, you'd think I'd speak from experience on this.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there goes all your food, but in your side pockets all you got is like kind bars or something.
Right.
Yeah. Or Cliff bars or whatever, you know. Yeah. Coffee with Curmudgeons bars.
CWC.
Coffee with Curmudgeons bars.
Yeah.
With that extra curmudgeonly, made with extra curmudgeonly granola.
Yeah, there's just 2 ingredients on it. It just says
shell pits. We'd put shell pits in it because that would be and coffee grounds.
Oh, yeah, it's just
shell pits and coffee grounds.
3 then. Yeah, coffee grounds, oats,
chicory,
and angst.
Yes,
you know,
you gotta put chicory in it too.
You see that, right?
Everyone puts chicory and stuff. I don't even know what the hell chicory is.
What is chicory? I once called a lady a chicory and got my face slapped. I didn't know that had anything to do with, you know, chicory. Hey, let's put chicory in that.
Hang on a second, Jason.
Let's ask
Arnold. Increase funny, Jason. Anyway,
all right. Now I'm up to snuff now. Hi.
Crap jokes.
2 penguins walking into a bar hall. Sorry.
Anyway.
Whop that by 5.
You know, I should look because I'm sure there's like screen. This was all the rage back in the early days of the pads and the phone and everything.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a Westworld one where you can put people's avatars and stuff and then increase, you know, hand-to-hand combat fighting and stuff.
Wow. Whoa.
Anyway. So yeah, that happens. But anyway, you go up, and as you go higher in evolution.
Yep.
There's a word.
Well, listen.
Echo, define evolution. Oh, she wouldn't even respond to that.
She's not even the time of day.
Now I can't think. Yes, elevation.
I know.
Otherwise known as evolution. Is that even a word? Evolution? It sounds... Echo, define the word evolution. It'd be like...
Evolution is usually defined as a process in which...
Process.
It's like... It is. It's evolution is like evolution at a
higher level. I like
evolution. Ooh. You know how Devo, the band Devo, the name Devo is Devo. It stands for de-evolution.
Yes.
Evolution.
Ooh. Yes. Sounds kind of like a boy band or something.
Yeah.
Next on the stage.
Coffee with Curmudgeons. Evolution. Anyway. So when you go up higher,
yes,
the boiling point lowers.
Yes.
So anyway. Which is a good thing because if you're starving on a mountain and you got to cook some freeze-dried chicken and rice or tofu and rice or whatever it is, freeze-dried in a little freeze-dried. He's like, oh, hurry up and boil this. I'm just going to eat this, just dry,
Right.
And then if you got nothing, it becomes like the Donner Party or those soccer teams crashing in the Andes. It's like, hey, Jason.
Yes.
How much you weigh? How plump is your arm there?
Hey, I want to talk.
We got any barbecue sauce back in the back?
Right, yeah. Hey, Ralph, come here, dude. Come here. Hey, Bobby over there, he just called me succulent. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
It means get ready for the barbecue.
I was talking about something else, and I'm going to go back to that. But it just, obviously we research and have our topics and our script really well rehearsed and ready to go. But, we haven't done a good extensive show on cannibalism.
No.
And I think the time is ripe, as we would say.
Why not?
I sent you that vegan barbecue thing, and I'm just thinking, there's gotta be okay, there's survival guides and stuff. I've just totally gone off on a tangent. The fine people at REI used to be the REI co-op. That's where we would get, like, when you really do the camping and stuff.
Hardcore.
Seattle, Washington, here in Portland, and all over REI, man.
Yeah.
They'd have all this stuff. And you may get, or at any sports shop that does outdoorsy, you may get like your survival guides.
Yeah.
I still, to this day, I have not brought in the scout books. I keep promising to bring in all the scout stuff.
Yeah, right, in the handbook, yeah.
Yeah, or the scout stuff,
manual.
or just the merit badges and everything. We've never done that, have we?
No.
Still got to do that.
Haven't done it.
Anyway, but you have your survival, how to survive if you are in the water.
Yeah.
They have information in pamphlets and probably on the internet now too.
Sure.
But is there a good, when you find yourself in that special survival situation?
Yes.
Recipes for cooking cannibal. It's like.
Well, there was that one, To Serve Man.
Yeah, that's what it was. But just a legit, kind of handbook for when all hope is lost and you need to barbecue Jimmy. It's like, Jimmy, come here.
it's like cannibalism for dummies. You're
exactly.
Looking through there. Well, hey.
Well, I would imagine there's issues with preparation. Some things are sinewy. It's like you'd have to pick the proper. I mean, it's look. If you've crashed on a mountainside and there's no food. I don't think the triathlete is going to be good eating, right?
No. I think that's the point where you're trying on the down low to, either pinch people for meatiness, or maybe.
Why'd you pinch me? Oh, just no reason. Yeah. Just I like you.
Ralph, how come you got that measuring tape out? What are you doing? He's measuring me for a spit, It
isn't funny because people have actually done this, but it's so. Look, here's how funny works. There's things, and then there's extreme.
Right.
I think in most regular, normal people's brains, having to survive via cannibalism, seems rather extreme.
I would think that on the 1 to 10 scale, I would think that the cannibalism would probably be a solid 14. That it's going to be one of those you never see, but. Hey, it's good to be prepared.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why we need the handbook. So we're going to work on our Coffee with Curmudgeons survival
guide.
We'll put a few recipes in there. We've tried these. We like these. This is pretty good. It's like, you've tried these, really?
Hey, I never leave the house without having any rosemary.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. But it is weird. And that was, again, going to go back to the Star Trek thing. Yeah. Back when we were watching Star Trek, back when we were the kids, these movies or these books actually came out. We had grisly literature that came out.
Yeah.
Back in those days.
Oh, sure.
And the kids all knew about it, just like the internet and everything. the smaller kids in the lower grades and stuff, trust me, they knew everything about it, especially if they had older brothers and sisters. It wasn't like a thing like, I never heard of this. No, you'd go to your like 3rd grade class or whatever, and here would come Jimmy, your friend, and give you like a complete top-down synopsis of the book Alive. You know?
Yeah.
And it would be like...
Yeah, because remember at that time, I mean, we were hip deep in the Cold War, right? You didn't know if there was going to be some nuclear apocalypse the next day, right? So it added to the proliferation of, shall we say, survival guides. And, you know, as a kid, you want to know how to, you want to know how to outlast a zombie apocalypse because, you know, it's in the comic books and, you know, everyone knows comic books are right. B, right? You got to get through a nuclear Armageddon. That's got to happen. Or C, you've got to be prepared unless your parents leave you alone over a weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they're going to some Tupperware party up in Tacoma. We don't know, but you're going to find yourself alone. Older brother is going to be out there partying on the streets with his dudes. He's not going to be thinking about little Bobby sitting at home with stomach cramps because, oh, I'm so hungry.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to know this. This is valuable information. Folks, we are doing you a favor today. You're welcome.
The book Alive is about the 1972 crash of the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 in the Andes Mountains.
Yeah.
Of the 45 people of the flight, only 16 survived. Rations ran out, and consequently, the survivors had to sustain life with the rations found in the wreckage. The rations did not last long, and in order to stay alive, it became necessary for the survivors to eat the bodies of the dead. Yeah. And then this became a popular nonfiction book and 2 movies, I think.
2 movies, yeah.
And you know what? I've seen neither of them. I remember the early movie came out, like the book, and immediately got optioned for a movie.
Right.
It's like cannibalism.
But the later, the later one was done in the early 2000s.
It did.
Oh, the wife,
and they did a whole different thing.
Yeah.
It got good reviews, maybe.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I remember this as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, you know, some of those things I've been desensitized to. I remember this as a kid. It's like, yeah, you want to go see that movie? Not so much. I know the story.
Yeah.
I heard it secondhand from my buddy in writing class in the 3rd grade in gory detail. Like, oh yeah, and then he took the leg. And then page 64. That's so good. It's like, I didn't really read the book, but my older brother did, and he told me all about it one time at night when I was trying to get to sleep in the bunk bed. You know what I mean? You're just like, God dang.
I know. But
and you know the other one was, and actually, this is a movie coming out again. Mm-hmm. It's coming out. Mm-hmm. Might be HBO or it might be First Run. I'm not sure. One of those two or Netflix. It's something. I know I've heard it's coming out again.
Mm-hmm.
Helter Skelter.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
That was they were like the two. Those were like the two. Those were like the 2 books that when you were a little kid, you shouldn't, but you knew everything about both of those books.
Yeah.
And the Helter Skelter is, yes, it's a reference to the Beatles song, but if you don't know, it's a reference to the Sharon Tate, Charles Manson murders.
Yep.
The Manson family murders.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
in gory detail.
When I was a kid, that whole thing.
It was like a thing.
That used to freak me out.
Yeah,
man.
no. And you knew it in every detail. Like your friends would go, yeah, Helter Skelter. You know, it's Charlie Manson, right? And so you'd just be like freaked out.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd walk to school and I'd walk past every person and be like,
yeah,
it's like Charlie Manson.
Listen,
man.
if you were a kid in the 70s, man, after that book came out, if you were a kid in the 70s, he was your boogeyman.
Yeah.
Right? Charlie Manson, you know, oh my gosh. What if, you know, kids, what if he escapes, you know? Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Is there more of them out there?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, there are. Jason.
Yes, there are.
You betcha. Yeah, no, it's just so far out, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe Silence of the Lambs, maybe in popular culture, like Silence of the Lambs and all that sort of like role. Okay, all your fears, all your stuff that you grew up with, we're just gonna do Thomas Harris. We're just gonna do you know,
good manifestation.
The red dragon and all this in fiction, and just like, you know, here's your boogeyman, your ultra boogeyman, you know, Hannibal Lecter, oof, you know, you're like, okay,
quick,
like all the boogie wrapped up into
all manifested in that one character, the son of Sam,
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
That was like the more modern. See, I think for people younger than us,
Dahmer's
that's this is welcome to our Grizzly show. This will be one for a Halloween evergreen, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's for the younger folks, it's probably Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
It's probably also what's his name, the serial killer who was out here.
Bundy, right?
Bundy, yeah.
Even remember she played
again. Happy Monday,
right?
We're talking about serial killers and grisly things.
Why not?
Yeah,
why not?
We're just talking about. Well, you know what? Now it is.
Yeah.
Now in popular fiction, and this is where I can't wrap my head around it because I don't like it. I just really zombies. It's like The Walking Dead and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And not to denigrate y'all, but it's just real boring to me.
Yeah, the
whole zombie thing is just all right, whatever. Because they're cannibals and they're
eating brains.
They're like everything.
Yeah.
They're like everything wrapped into one, and it's just not. I mean, it was the George Romero, the Night of the Living Dead, right?
You see, that had some, because Romero made it kind of
cool,
funky, campy, cool,
and it was revolutionary at that time.
At the time, Night of the Living Dead, sure.
But as you get into like all the pop culture with that, and people love those, and it's just like, you know,
well, as with
it's
anything,
like stormtroopers in Star Wars. It's like pew 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 pew. Okay, you know,
right?
Oh, look, eating brains. You know?
Yeah, but as with anything in pop culture, once it becomes like famous, right?
Yeah.
People are all over each other to beat it over the head with a shovel until it's used so many times.
Like the Hannibal Lecter Silence of the Lambs thing.
Yes.
Way scarier to me in fiction than a bunch of zombies walking around.
You know what movie just freaked me out when I was a kid? Freaked me out. The Exorcist.
Oh yeah.
Oh
see,
man.
that's old school. That's old school.
No.
That that's a good on our list here of the cannibal. Having to survive cannibalism, right?
Yeah.
The Charlie Manson stuff. These are like the boogie. We're actually talking about the boogeymen of our generation. And that was the other one, The Exorcist.
They put the boogie in
because that was the pop culture
thing.
The Exorcist, getting possessed, the devil. Little girls twisting their heads around and stuff.
Because it was an evil that you couldn't quite put your finger on, right? It wasn't Jason with the big machete. It wasn't Mike Myers hiding behind the mask.
Right.
This was some nameless, formless thing that invaded you, took you over.
An innocent. Invaded an inninnocent person.
Innocent
a little girl.
Yeah. Next thing you know, she's spitting out pea soup and just twisting her head around.
It's not as scary anymore, is it?
No.
And here's the thing. You remember when that came out, The Exorcist? So the story goes, maybe this is a urban legend, but the story is that in the theaters they had to put barf bags in the theater because it was so scary. People were getting sick and running out of the theater for The Exorcist. And now you watch it and you're like, oh, that's cute. Oh, look, she twisted her head around. Oh, look, the pea soup. You know what I mean?
Right. Now
and people
something
were
like
so disturbed.
Oh my gosh, people were literally passing out in the theaters, right? They would be sitting there and they swoon. They would get the vapors. And they would pass out. Nowadays, I mean, you watch the you go on your first date. Honey, I want to see The Exorcist. Well, I don't know why it'd be a first date movie, but let's roll with it.
Why not? No. It's a classic now. It's a classic.
Let's roll
Max von Sydow, dude.
Right.
He's one of the priests.
Yeah. And
am I right?
Yeah, he's one of the. I think he plays the bishop, right?
Any movie that he's in, I'll watch.
Kicks it up a notch.
Yeah.
And then the guy who played Damien was just fantastic. Father Damien. Anyway,
I think so. Yeah.
But no, you take your date there. You sit, you get the popcorn, you get the jujubes, and you're watching The Exorcist, thinking, hey, maybe she'll give me a kiss later. But no.
Yep.
She turns to you and says, wow, this movie is very quaint.
Exactly.
And quaint? When did The Exorcist become quaint?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it still scares me, but,
You know what the other one was? Where's the other one along those lines? What year was it? 68 came right before The Exorcist.
Ooh, yeah. Exorcist was like, what, 72?
Yeah. Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, yeah.
Was the other one. Rosemary's Baby.
Or It Lives. Remember the kid it's got like little, like, it's like Edward Scissored Hands, but Rosemary's Baby.
Rosemary's Baby was the one.
She was like the...
Which, oddly enough, trivia-wise, it was directed by Roman Polanski. Who's...
Insert joke.
No, there's not a joke. His girlfriend was Sharon Tate.
Yes.
The one who died in the... That gets all really creepy really fast. And then there's more creepy Roman Polanski stuff. And
Stick around.
Yeah. But anyway, that was Rosemary's Baby. And those just creep people out. But The Exorcist was just like, this is the scariest film you'll ever see. Ever.
Yes. Ever. And wasn't the movie poster, right? Wasn't it just some sort of weird, eerily creepy...
It's just like a
bassinet or something like that?
Oh, Rosemary's Baby, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, gosh. The devil's inside that. He's inside that right there.
Yeah.
It's got a pink bow, but that's not pink. It's the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a parent, you're just like, devil took over my kid. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there is that parenting thing where you're like, it's not so scary after you're a parent. You're like, no, I can see that.
But you're actually relieved, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, it's a devil. Little Bobby just isn't psycho. He's actually been taken over by a spirit. Woo, that was close.
Devil likes to fill his diapers a lot, doesn't the devil? Devil filled his diapers 3 times in an hour.
This episode sponsored by Pampers.
Maybe the devil shouldn't be eating solids right now.
Right. Why did you feed the devil pizza? For gosh sakes, he's eating.
You know that's the devil. You're a parent. You remember these things. If you're a parent, you remember. By the way, if you're not a parent, this is pro tip.
It's a good primer for
it. Is like there are points when it's just like you're like that's the devil in there, and it has to do with solid foods. It has to do with the transition to solids.
Yeah, the devil's in solid food.
Yeah, the devil is in the little gastrointestinal tract of the infant when they switch to solid foods.
That's right.
It's all good up until then.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, the little baby smiling at you. It all turns in the middle of the night when he's had too much.
Yes. You go from
foods.
do you make a little cute poopy to my God,
he's got the devil in him. Yeah.
I had a Rosemary Baby incident once.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Middle of the night.
Oh, do tell. Yes.
Middle of the night.
Yes.
And it's one of those, it's the middle of the night cycle kind of a thing.
Ooh.
And the mom's in bed asleep and it's like, no, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
I'm awake.
Don't worry, honey.
I can do it.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it. Right? Yeah. Step up, Dad.
Yeah.
And so it was like, still just getting used to the diaper changes and that sort of thing. But,
sure.
Doing it, and it's all good.
Yeah.
And then the devil in the bassinet shot infant poop all over the room.
It happens.
I didn't know that it happened until that moment that stuff was flying everywhere. And I'm like, and it was like out of The Exorcist. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Call a priest. I mean, it was like it was like as if there was pea soup and the kid was levitating. I mean, as a father, you're like, we've got this. We are going to put this in the diaper exchange. diaper thing that you have.
Yeah, but at that point you're in full hazmat suit,
No. Up until the point that happens, you're like, I've got my clean one here.
Yeah.
I've got, you're doing the Boy Scouts and change a diaper.
I'm all over.
Hi,
this.
I'm here to change your diaper. The kid's like, wait till you see what I've got for you.
Did you make the dad noise?
What's that?
Oh, the dad noise is when you realize your child knows how to projectile vomit and whatever out of any orifice.
Yeah,
you make the sound, and it all harkens back to the Three Stooges. You sit there and that's the dad noise.
I'm telling you, I was like out of Rosemary's Baby. I was like, oh my God, what has happened here? I mean, I was like, I wanted to call a priest or whatever. I knew we should have got the house blessed. And then it's like, then it's like the mom has to step in because it's like,
honey, good news. We don't have to paint the nursery anymore.
Oh God, it was, it was a surprise. Anyway,
surprise, right?
It was a surprise. It's like, yeah. So you kind of have to do a salad shield or something to be safe. You know what I mean? It's a salad buffet shield, right? Kind of like make sure this doesn't, Right. After that, I think I was wearing, like you said, hazmat, or wearing a welding helmet or something. Okay, I'm ready.
Oh yeah, for the first 2 years of my kids' life, they thought I was some like Wild West bandito or something, because I'd always show up with the thing over the top of the mask, the bandana, and they're like, oh my God, he's here to rob us.
You just don't expect stuff flying out.
No.
Like, but anyway. That was an interesting discussion. So in Star Trek, we had
cannibalism. I'm kidding.
Never. That I remember.
No, I don't.
Maybe in the next generation, I want to say. I think the next generation, no, maybe did they allude? There was always that one moment when they'd look at Spock and they'd go, actually,
right.
If you don't keep them in their rooms, they'll go eat each other or something. One of those like we're signing a peace treaty between these two peoples,
right?
Of which one of them considers the other one a delicacy, right?
Right. Like, they celebrate the treaty signing with roasting someone over a steak.
They actually they've gone down that vibe in the new Star Trek.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. They've honed on that vibe, and it's sort of like, it's like, and people are like, well, and it's like, nah, you know what? I don't need to see that in my Star Trek. It doesn't work for me.
No.
I mean, you can allude to, you could say, well, you want to keep these aliens and these aliens kind of apart.
Or else,
because one of these guys are going to go munching on the other guy's legs.
Right. And if you're Star Trek,
that's okay.
And you're wearing one of those red uniforms, you're the first guy to get roasted over the spit.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just thinking like Spock's dad, the Vulcan ambassador. He's always like, it wouldn't be logical to put them together because you might have incidental barbecue. Live long and prosper. It's like
climactic ritual of Pong Far happens to be roasting.
Oh, that's that's the Vulcan orgy.
That's true.
That's not a feast. That's a get your freak on Vulcan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I know.
I mean, they're also stoic, and so logical.
Oh no!
Who knew that they put their
push the emotions down, Jason.
And then
they tell you that the Vulcans say I'm a Star Trek, and I love my Star Trek.
Yes.
And they say that more than once. The Vulcans say, you humans have your emotions, but in many cases, us Vulcans have stronger emotions than you do.
Ooh.
That's why we do what we do.
They've learned to tap it down. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
They mention it.
I get it.
Yeah. More than once.
Yeah.
They say that. And then you're like, ooh, spiky.
So he's able to, even though his tummy's grumbling because he wants to eat Bob over there, he's able to tamp that down.
Vulcans are not cannibals. Vulcans actually are vegetarians.
Are they?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where they established that in the Star Trek canon.
So there's no Vulcan burgers where they go around to,
Vulcan veggie burgers.
Okay.
Vulcan kelp burgers.
Kelp burgers.
Yeah, Vulcan kale burgers.
Kale burgers.
Vulcan kale burgers.
Oh.
It's our next product. Man, every 2 hours we come up with movie scripts, products, solid stuff. Vulcan burgers. Vulcan vegetarian, vegan, plant-based.
We do solutions here. That's what we do.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
And as a plant-based, vegetarian, vegan person myself, and I'm not the diet is,
yeah.
But I've always wondered this. So, you're on a spaceship. I've said this before. You don't have a couple head of cattle in your spaceship. And slaughter. It's impractical. You can't do any of the farming that you do on Earth in your spaceship. So you have replicators, and maybe you have the new thing where you're replicating protein, and you can have a burger or whatever that's all replicated, which they're doing today.
It just suddenly came upon me.
What?
It suddenly came upon me. You're right. Everyone in space is vegetarian.
Yes, that's what I've always said.
They would have
Star
to
Trek. Well, there's an argument there because there's this whole thing about I was just reading about this guy. It's this. I can't remember the word for it now. Something about the meat, the protein. It's the stuff where they grow the meat in the lab, like it doesn't get grown on the cow or whatever.
Yeah.
Which to me is just creepy. I mean, at this point, I'm like, dude, I'm vegetarian. Forget about it. I'm done. I don't need it in the first place, you know. But whatever, you know. Some people, they want the meat. But so there's a thing where maybe you're in your spaceship and you're somehow you got that protein put together in a lab.
Yeah.
But anyway, but we know that the plants work way better out in space than, like I said, you ain't gonna have a head of cattle. You're not gonna have your pig. You know, it'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go visit Captain Kirk's quarters on the Enterprise. Here he opens the door. Here's like a couple pigs, you know, in a pigsty. It's like, I'm gonna be roasting these for the barbecue.
That's why the old Star Trek show, you never saw these guys walking down the hallway and there's chickens just scattered about. You know,
it would be the Green Acres starship. Huh?
USS Green Acres.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
Eddie Arnold.
And
Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Zsa Zsa Gabor.
And they'd have a spaceship, and they'd have like you'd go in the quarters, and there would be the pigsty with the pigs, right? Arnold the pig, right? Arnold.
Well, of course,
right?
you got Arnold. I mean, he's going to be like, he's going to be Scotty. You know, he's down there doing his thing.
And every time they'd have to make a subspace phone call, they'd always have to go up like in the spaceship on the telephone pole to put it together.
And hook it up.
Green Acres. Yeah. Boy, this is some esoteric. This is references that only the people in the home, sitting in their shawls, watching the TV. How they're watching the TV on the internet, I don't know, but maybe it's 21st century. Who are getting this?
Yeah, this conversation isn't for the uninitiated.
Green Acres Starship. I love it.
I do too.
It just would be like, and you'd have, you'd be walking down those, you remember, just think of the original Star Trek, not just the next generation. You walk down those hallways of the spaceship. They're all very nice and very modern, clean, kind of a decohedron or whatever you call those things you're walking in. And then, you know, and that stuff, people walking down.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
I have no idea. I'm not sure either.
She may not be on board with this.
But instead, on the Green Acres ship, you'd be kind of like a little hay on the floor and mud, and every once in a while a door would open and it's like some pigs would come, tripping over pigs, Spock and manure,
I like it.
Slipping on manure on the bridge, Where do we get all this cattle?
Well, here, Edward Arnold, right?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Eddie Arnold, yeah.
Eddie Arnold. He was a guy. He was a straight-laced guy working.
He was a singer, I believe.
I think you're right.
I believe he was a singer,
and
then became an actor, and and then starred in Green Acres.
Green Acres, but no, I mean
Green Acres is a life for me.
That's right. But he was a straight-laced guy from the Starfleet, dude. And him and his young wife Zsa Zsa Gabor, they decide, man, I'm tired of the Starfleet life. I want to go out to the outer reaches of Nebulon 5 and start over again. So that's what they do. It's like Green Acres.
They can't do it. They can't. I'm just gonna go with it. Space, the final frontier. Where's the song?
I don't know.
Man, there it is. Because I think that's Eddie singing it. And he's wearing a suit. I should show it. Oh yeah, because he comes from Manhattan, right?
Right.
Zsa Zsa. It's Ivanka Trump or Ivana Trump.
That's right. Oh, good Lord. I've never made that connection before.
Yes.
Melania Zsa Zsa Gabor.
All right. I think she's on
Trump Towers, Green Acres.
Yeah, no. It would be more the Ivana years, I think.
The Ivana years.
Hopefully that didn't boot us from, we're always worried about the silly little world of the can we still do it without violating someone's copyright?
Yeah,
it's so old. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
but that is the Green Acres. That's a good theme song too. By the way,
it is.
That's back when theme songs were really, really good.
Right. They had Green Acres.
I mean, it's an old song that tells a story.
Welcome Back, Kotter.
Well, Welcome Back, Kotter.
Who else? I'm thinking of Petticoat Junction was pretty cool.
That's a good one.
The White Shadow was pretty cool. Remember the basketball team?
Petticoat Junction.
I love Petticoat Junction.
That was just all I remember is like, you know, it's like Petticoat, like the young girls with like bathing in the
water tank.
bathing in the water supply.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
How does this work for sanitation?
all the people that come through town that take a drink and say, "Wow, that has a very earthy flavor to it."
I think it was the water supply.
It was a big water tank.
I think it was for the locomotive. You know, they had the.
Oh, okay.
Steam.
Then they're safe. Then they're okay.
Still though, it just. It just had these scenes of scenes of 2018, like the girls with their petticoats on the thing, and you know that they're naked, and they're like, naked. It's like it's not a 2018 vibe, man.
No, that's true. It's one of those things that's relegated to the 20th century. Although I did like me some Petticoat Junction. But the opening themes are great.
Well, there were good-looking ladies on Petticoat Junction. That was the whole point.
Oh, my favorite was Bobby Joe, the brunette. Ooh,
how many ladies were on? Well, that was the whole point, right? It was single ladies.
Single ladies with the uncle.
It was like the Seven Brothers for Seven...
Brides for Seven
Brides or something. I mean, it was just like... There's a lot of shenanigans going on back then in the...
Well, I mean, what else are they going to do?
I know.
They didn't have the internet over there at that time.
And the Bible says so.
In the Bible.
The Bible says so, Jason.
There was a whole lot of procreating going on over there.
The Bible says so.
That's right.
I mean, it's not just like the religious book says. You young strapping man now.
Says it in Deuteronomy.
You have a pig. So it's time
to procreate
for Jesus. So you're like, okay. Right. Sounds like fun.
Procreate for Jesus.
Sounds like fun.
That sounds like some rally they're going to have down there in the deep south.
They already did that.
Procreate for Jesus.
I don't even care. Anyway, so in Star Trek we had they had technology.
Oh, yeah.
They did not have pigs, and they did not have things. So what I was going to say about that, as a vegetarian and all that, and if you assume that a lot of people are eating the veggie burgers or whatever, they're easy to replicate, the hydroponics, all that stuff is easy to. Oh man,
yeah.
Think about the arborarium. Was that what you call it in the plant stuff in the starships? Because they'd have like
arborariums. Yes.
They must have the best cannabis on the Enterprise. I mean, come on.
They had to have. I never thought of that either. You know,
walking in on Spock. You know, Spock always has like that meditation, weird. Yeah. Like it gets weirder in the Next Generation, but he's got like weird statues and incense and candles and stuff that he bought in 1968 at the Saturday Market. You know, and Spock's like meditating, right? And Kirk would walk in. He's like, I gotta talk to Spock about something important. Walks in as he's meditating. And Spock's got this giant spliff.
Oh yeah,
Captain. Little reggae music in the background. Vulcan reggae music.
Yeah, everyone knew that Spock was the weed hookup, right? Because he
hung out with hippies.
Yeah, and he's hanging out playing the 3-dimensional chess
and his 3-dimensional guitar.
Yeah,
don't forget his guitar.
Oh, of course, yeah. And Kirk's coming in.
That he would played with space hippies.
Right.
He was the only person who understood the space hippies.
He's the only guy. I mean, because him
and Uhura.
Well, Uhura.
Because she would sing too.
Right.
They were hip.
But I mean, Captain Kirk, after a long day on the bridge, right? He wants to wind down. Maybe he's got a martini or two. We don't know. Yeah. But he shows up there.
Definitely. Him and Bones, man.
And that is owned, by the way, a quick aside of that.
Yeah.
Bones is a nickname you can only get when you're stoned. I'm just throwing that out there. But But Kirk walks in, and Spock's like, "Hey, grab a seat. Let's play some 3-dimensional chess. I got some great, Dragon Kush there in the back.
Right?
We're gonna, that's what's going on.
Some dabs.
If you're out there on a 5-year mission, you're spending half the time loaded.
Again, on a spaceship, you would have good plant, plant protein. Also, the other thing, just as a science aside, look at the fungi, the fungi.
Exactly.
That's the deal.
Right. And a lot of people
and
don't
that
know
stuff really grows like crazy.
We're going to give up a secret right here, right now on Coffee with Curmudgeons. A lot of people don't know this, so please remember this, okay? Because this will come back to you on a test. The prime directive of the Starfleet wasn't like, it was like, don't mess with people's weed supply. Yeah. That was the prime directive. Okay?
But here's the thing. So you're out there and you're eating vegetables, your plant-based diet.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe you're eating the mushrooms, the fungi. Like, not just the funny mushrooms or the medicinal mushrooms, but actually there's a lot of good stuff in the mushrooms. I'm telling you. No, there's lots of medicinal. There's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're, just because we're so stupid with our stuff, we're still learning about
we're babes in the woods. Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why those ancient cultures survived without modern medicine. It was like, well, they didn't have any antibiotics and stuff. Oh, wait a minute. They found these roots and these,
exactly
these things that actually had stuff that fixed it naturally.
They were in tune with the land far more than
somehow the earth has stuff that you need to survive.
What? That's
evolution.
Right.
So you're out there.
Yeah, but the Starfleet ayahuasca is to die for.
But here's the thing. You're out there.
Yeah.
All right, you're going to encounter new life, new planets.
Yeah.
So here you're like, it's like, okay, let's bring them up on the view screen. I'm having a late lunch here at my, in my swivel chair, a late lunch.
Spock, put down the spliff.
Well, I'm having a late lunch. I have my giant veggie burger.
Yeah.
Just like seething with a giant veggie patty.
Sure.
Lettuce, tomato.
Yes.
Lots of tomato hanging out.
Lots of tomato. Pickles.
Ketchup.
Mustard.
Just like, it's just fun. Yeah. Late lunch, Captain. Yeah. Okay, put them on the video screen. Hey, how's it going? It's plant people.
Ooh.
So it's like Tomato Man on the planet and stuff. And here's this giant tomato hanging out of your food as you're crunching down on it.
He thinks you're performing cannibalism on his.
Exactly.
That is a situation.
What are you going to do? Because you're going to find those sentient plant-based life, and you're going to be like, oh, what do you guys... So, Tomato Man's like through the universal translator. So what do you guys like sustain yourself on in your starship?
Oh, we have lots of lettuce and tomatoes.
Tomato soup, tomato sandwiches, tomato Man's like...
Yeah. He's blown a gasket because you just ate his family.
So really, in the Star Trek universe, in any universe, because we're not going to go around like the Tellarite or whatever. They're pig people. They look like pigs. So we got to not eat the pigs anyway.
Right.
So we're not going to eat them, because if you eat the pigs, if you eat the bacon and you meet the Tellarites, you'd be like going, "There's some bacon."
Well, you just
because they got kind of horns and like pig noses and stuff.
Yeah, right. They're
but you can't eat them.
You can't eat them out of respect.
There's going to be cow people.
There's going to be cow people.
There's going to be like cow looking with cow heads.
Yep.
Who are all going to be like, traveling. This moon has, they're going to be like mining dilithium or something. The cow people.
Yeah.
So you can't eat any of those people.
You can't.
You can't walk in and go, "I'm suddenly hungry, Spock." But then you're going to meet the plant people. And what are you going to do? You can't eat anything at that point.
It smells like ham. And everyone's like, oh.
Tellarites do smell like ham.
Yeah, see?
Tellarites smell like bacon.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Tellarites there?
Never.
Okay. We first see them in the original Star Trek in A Journey to Babel, or I think is the name of it.
Okay.
It's one of the famous original Star Trek episodes because it's the first time we meet Spock's dad and Spock's mom.
Okay, yeah.
They come on the Enterprise. Why?
Yeah.
Because he's the ambassador.
Yes.
He brings his wife, Amanda, who is what?
She's human.
She's human.
Yeah.
And it turns out that's Spock's mom and dad, Sarek and Amanda. And they're there because they're doing a treaty between the Andorians, the blue guys with the antennas.
Right.
Remember those guys in the white hair?
Remember when one of them got knocked off? Yeah.
and the Tellarites, who are like the big people with the big noses and stuff. Because they've been warring for centuries.
Right, okay.
And then years later, see the Federation, and they make out the peace and stuff, and then they become all peaceful, and that's the Federation. That's how the Federation starts.
Yeah.
Is because so they become founding members of the Federations.
That's probably
it's like the United Nations, you know?
Yeah, that's probably why nobody except for humans wanted there to be like a nuclear apocalypse there, because it would just like smell like dinner.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then there's later the Tellarites eat other people. It's confusing. So you got to like keep everyone's dietary programs are really complicated. But I'm just fascinated by, okay, if you just go the next level. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're vegetarian, so we got this worked out. We're not going to want to eat Tellarite bacon.
No.
Back bacon.
No.
All right?
A BLT.
Yeah. Bob the Tellarite, it's like, you got to check it.
Think about this. If you eat a BLT, you're gonna get everybody mad at you. The tomato people, you get the bacon people. I know.
What about the bread planet? The planet of wheat, sentient wheat. Oh my God, we're screwed.
What if there's a gluten planet?
Yes. Well, gluten is, it would be like a wheat. It would be like these wheat stalks that are,
Yeah.
Higher philosophy.
Yeah.
We are a spacefaring wheat planet. It's like, the guy's like got a bagel. He's like, Kirk's like, hide the bagel.
Hide it, right.
Okay, hide the bagel.
You don't want
What is that you're eating? Yeah. Nothing.
They cut away to the bridge and
boiled bread.
Spock off to the side trying to make a bologna sandwich with Wonder Bread. He's like,
exactly.
Because tensions are high.
Yeah, I mean, so I think this vegetarian thing in space only goes so far until you meet the sentient, lettuce and tomato and wheat.
Well, okay, I'm going to blow your mind even more then.
Yeah.
Ready for this? If they have like wheat and like tomato people and the pig people, what if they're growing humans for food? What if we're the beef?
I know, right?
And we're the guys sitting in half things of dirt being,
This just gets into a complicated thing about ecosystems. Because in order to do plants, you need the nitrogen and you need and the fungi, and then there's the thing. So, so you go to a planet, right?
Yes.
Like, say like there's tons of planets out there now. We now know this, confirmed.
Let's use some Star Trek, like Zebulon 5.
Okay, Zebulon 5, right?
Yeah.
We figured that there's a lot of weird planets that we have no idea what they're going to be like.
Sure.
And there probably is life there, and there's probably, like, we don't know.
Yeah,
it's going to be like I read a really good short story about where they go to this planet and they don't recognize that there's life there, and then they figure it out, and it's all silicon-based, like sand-based, and it's really bizarre. It's like nothing you've ever seen before, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But we know life as we know it starts with water and the elements that we have
nitrogen.
And it turns out those are all over now. We're finding them all over. And we're going to find evidence of that all over. So chances are we think that we'll find planets.
Yeah.
Not unlike ours, maybe a little different, but like ours, that could sustain and evolve life like ours. So good chances, I theoretically think now with the evidence, that there's good chances that
why not? Yeah.
This here happens other places in the universe, given the statistics.
Oh, sure.
Whether intelligent life or whatever happens, that's the question.
Yeah.
But life as we know it, the conditions for life, the basic building blocks, the elements.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah,
seem to be all over. We're finding that stuff on comets.
Yeah, I mean there are basic building blocks to life, and some
constantly finding it everywhere with our probes.
Yeah, on some planets it would be more of this sort of building block versus if you went to another condition where it'd be that.
So could you have a planet?
Yeah.
Similar to ours, right? With those building blocks, because that's all we know that all of how organic life works is what we know here.
Yes.
Because we've never seen it anywhere else. So if you have a similar planet like that, with the conditions that could evolve like ours, who's to say that, we came from the primates, that's how the intelligent people. Well, what if the dinosaurs didn't get wiped out? Would they have evolved to be talking dinosaurs?
Well, yeah, and it used to be a show on ABC.
Yeah, I know. The
dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. That's right. I thought you were talking about the Land of the Lost.
Oh, Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost. Yeah.
But remember, even in sci-fi, Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
The apes themselves had evolved into
pretty much
a superior species.
And considering how close they are, what about the whales, right?
Or dolphins?
But who's to say they don't have to be mammals? Lizard people, and that's what you have in Star Trek, right? You show that in Star Trek. You got lizard guy, you got the Gorn, and it's like, oh, he's a lizard dude,
Yeah.
But
it doesn't.
What if the balance were plants, maybe? But they'd have to grow a brain, though, I guess. And they don't have brains, so
just evolve like Tolkien, the Ents,
Yes,
they get a little angry.
Ents, Ents. I mean, who's to say?
Who's to say?
I guess you'd have to have a brain to have intelligence, and the only brains we know are like
but who's to say
in our heads, except for computers.
Right. I mean, who's to say that brains couldn't have evolved in more organic based?
I'm totally in the kind of Star Trek 2001 thing.
Yeah.
I think if you're really out there flying around in space for real.
Yeah.
Like if you get out there, it's like, okay, we're now we're in space. We're flying light years. We're doing that stuff.
Yeah.
It's all going to be like computer brain people.
Oh, it is.
I don't think it's going to be, because we just don't exist well in that
Borg,
environment.
Right?
Well, first of all, you'd have to live for thousands of years.
Well, yes and
we
no.
don't live so long, Jason.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but relatively speaking, in geologic and galactic terms, we don't live very long.
No, but
we're have the life of a fly compared to the universe.
Right, and I'm open to any sort of possibilities because we judge surely they couldn't have had the time to gotten it, but we're just judging it on our own the way things are here, right?
Yeah.
We have no idea. So, someone 30 billion light years away may be in a whole different system where things have evolved.
I'm telling you, Stephen Hawking.
Yes.
He didn't bring up plant people.
No.
That's my own theory.
I like it. Stick with it.
You're on the bridge.
Yeah.
Best you don't be getting that late lunch with your veggie garden burger as you're meeting a new species, because they might be the plant people. They might be the tomato people. And there's a tomato hanging out of your mouth going, ooh.
Yeah.
I did have mayo on it.
Today's plants may be tomorrow's overlords.
Exactly.
You don't know what's going to go on.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
And I'm sticking to it. But Stephen Hawking's theory, or his idea, not published, but his ideas, because as I said, and I'm very proud of this, I sat there and heard him say that live on stage, is that he was like, we're not going to travel the stars like this. We're going to evolve. We're either going to have to replace our bodies because we're going to have to last a lot longer than we are, or better yet, we might just be like computer robot people.
Yeah.
Westworld people with robot minds.
Or what if? But I think it could be accessed through gene therapy too. What if they totally spliced it?
That's what he said.
Because we already have something called the Methuselah gene.
That's what he said.
What if they were to manipulate that and totally?
The problem with space here and space travel, and this is a problem with today.
Yes.
Like astronauts going out into space.
Not enough tang.
No. There's enough tang. There's plenty enough tang.
Okay.
And you get the water from the pee. You do.
I know.
You do.
I know.
There was actually we should an article in the Science Pages.
Purifier.
A week ago was the toilet on the space station.
Right.
Like it was actually picture Russian design. Looked Russian design too. They could have used a little like Target, kind of like a nice towel rack or something. It just didn't look. It was one of the space the woman astronaut who has spent the most time in space, U.S. astronaut. She has spent the most time in space. I can't remember her name. Starts with a W. She's now officially the longest space person. She's been up in the shuttle. She's been up in the International Space Station. She's got the largest number of days, which is weird because Kelly, I thought, had a lot too. He's the guy who spent like a year.
Yeah.
Like 600 and some days, I want to say.
It's almost 2 years.
Yeah. But that's not good for your body.
No.
Our bodies are, and one of the things is just stray radiation. Like we have nice, Van Allen belts.
Yes.
And stuff, and even ozone that, upper atmosphere that protects us from getting. Because see, if we didn't have any of that stuff, life wouldn't have evolved in the first place.
No, we would be popping like popcorn.
Yeah, well, because the radiation comes in, slices everyone's DNA, and then you're done. You can't evolve. And so that's one of the conditions you need for a planet to evolve. You kind of need has to do with the dynamo and the iron core, which makes a magnetic core, which bounces the things. And read your science, okay?
Yeah, just Google it, people.
But if you go out into space, if we just go travel out to space, even just going to the moon and back, you get a lot of radiation.
Oh, yeah.
You go to Mars,
a whole lot of radiation.
Whole lot of radiation going on. And so that's not conducive to, our bodies don't like that.
So what NASA needs to do, right, is about halfway to 3/4 of the way, they need to put like a space car wash. So, you know, they get there and like, oh, there's Mars over there. But first, we better pull over to the old space car wash and wash off all the radiation off us. You know?
It's not. It doesn't work that way.
Oh.
Think little tiny knives going through your body through the universe. You know. But I mean, it's like.
But I can dream.
You'd have to regenerate.
Yeah.
Your body. You know.
Yeah.
So that's just one thing out of so many things.
Right.
That and so so Hawking was like. We're not built for this, so you have to figure it out. And I think it's like computers. I think it's gonna be Westworld. And then spoiler alert. I think that I've thought since the beginning of Westworld that's where it goes. It's like, and they already. I shouldn't do any spoilers from this last episode, but they've been kind of like.
I fought the robots and the robots won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could take your brain and put all your thoughts somewhere else and then shift it, it's like, oh, that body doesn't work anymore. Shift it over here. Okay, we're good. And then you could last for thousands of years, and you could fly somewhere.
Right.
You could go to another planet or whatever.
Right. It's not going to be like a shell that's more hardy that could take whatever.
Unless you invent warp drive.
Or wormholes or something.
Well, unless you invent.
Bending time and space. Yeah.
I mean, the warp drive maybe, because you can warp it and go there and be like, okay, we're here. That's good, right? But I mean, still, it's just, I don't know.
Okay, can I think of an alternative?
I mean, I want space travel, but the thing is that the more you look into the science of it, the more it's like...
Yeah, it's a huge headache.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, people are like, die on Mount Everest, right?
Yeah.
Space travel it's not even close to Mount Everest. Think of Mount Everest 1,000 times over.
a billion.
Like Mount Everest is a vacation.
Right.
The summit of Mount Everest is a vacation next to space.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? You're like, because if you think, okay, what's the worst place I could go that my survival is in jeopardy? Mount Everest.
Sure.
Climbing Mount Everest.
Yeah.
People do it. People are successful. A lot of people aren't.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, space.
The final frontier.
Mars.
Yeah.
Mars.
And
it's like, hey, what do you got to eat? I don't know. Cannibal? Did you bring that Cannibal cookbook?
Right. And Mars is the closest, quote, friendliest environment.
It is.
I mean, you couldn't go to any of the gas giants.
Or Venus.
Exactly.
Which is similarly close, but it's a little hot there.
Yeah.
No, it is. You're right. And Mars is like the friendliest of places to go, and it's still not a nice place.
No.
Which is why we send robots and stuff.
Right.
And that's a good thing. But I don't know. But so in Star Trek, you had the pad, you had the communicator.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. You had the tricorder.
You had to talk to the computer.
Yeah.
And so you were thinking as a kid that this is what we'd get. So it's like, can we get that? And what happened? We got it.
Yeah.
We got the pad. We got the communicator. We have the communicator now.
We do.
Because this was back when they had phones that were made of this heavy plastic stuff.
Yep.
Right? This was when Star Trek was happening.
Yeah.
If you went to a phone, you had to go to the phone, and it had a shoot, and then they had push buttons.
Right.
If you needed to call somebody from the car, you had to stop on the street corner and go to a pay phone, put in money, and call.
Yeah.
You weren't constantly there. There was no computers and internet that you carried with you anywhere. That didn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, it did exist, but in a lab, but not.
But it is amazing to see what, especially on Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
66, what science fiction has actually become science
So
fact
all
now.
the computer technology, all the personal technology,
Yeah.
Except for maybe the phasers, right? The guns, right? But the communicator, the computer you talk to now. Now we have
tricorder.
The tricorder, which is essentially, this is kind of a tricorder. And also in medicine, they do have like tricorder stuff now. Yeah, all that stuff exists today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, from Star Trek. The bigger stuff like the transporter and the warp drive, not so much. Even the lasers, actually the phasers and the lasers, those actually do exist. Look up the military technology stuff. Yeah, you'd be surprised how close to Star Trek it is now. Oh yeah, they got the lasers. As a matter of fact, the USS Portland, which is a fairly brand new ship. Oh, see, look at this rat hole I can go down.
USS Portland.
Is it an Arleigh Burke?
Yeah.
No, this is the flagship of Portland, Oregon. I'll look it up for you. We'll be getting the prototype laser ship-to-ship laser weapon installed later this year.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I read about this on the internet.
Wow. USS Portland's gonna be like a Death Star.
It has a yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Yep, I think it's the Portland.
Yeah.
Or is it the Willamette? It's the Portland, I think. It's the first ship that's been named Portland after years, and it's named for Portland, Oregon. USS Portland, LPD-27, is a... Oh, I'm sorry. It's not an Arleigh Burke. It's a San Antonio class amphibious transport dock. Those are very popular.
Yeah.
Named in honor of the city of Portland, Oregon.
Hey, look at that.
Well, I don't know.
The USS Portlandia?
Laser weapon system. The laser weapon system... Law WS will be moved from the USS Ponce, which is where it was being tested, to Portland for indefinite testing. It will be installed at the end of 2018.
I want to be a part of that indefinite testing.
Oh, dude, it's totally... And if you look at the picture, I'll show you the picture here.
It's like space age, isn't it? It looks like.
There it is. There's the laser weapon.
Ooh.
Yep, it's Death Star. It's Star Trek.
Ooh, it is.
Yep. That's going to be on the USS Portland. So the USS Portland will be the first, in-service
Imperial
ship that will have... Yes, thanks, Portland, Oregon. Our flagship is going to be the Death Star. It's going to be like a superstar. It's going to be like one of those Corellian destroyers. Like, dun, 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 dun.
Right.
You know, if they do bring it into the Willamette, and there, I think I read about this because there was some controversy. Because, you know, Portlandia.
What? Portland?
Kind of, kind of liberal, kind of like not so much on the war. You know, we're kind of like little Beirut, you know?
Kind of, yeah.
And so there's always like protesting and stuff when the ships come in, and it is a Rose Festival now, so ship time, right?
Yes.
And you know that's always controversial.
Yeah.
And so I think there was like some controversy about this ship. So I don't know. I don't know.
But how much protesting?
Just somebody photoshopped the Willamette in Portland, and there's the destroyer from Star Wars, like hovering over. Welcome Rose Festival.
I would get kicked out too, because if I was in the Navy, I'd totally get kicked out because people are down there. Oh, down with the and I'd be turning it, going to freak them out. Like, oh my gosh,
I grow tired of asking, where is the rebel base? Hillsborough. It's in Hillsborough. Oh, damn. They had a nice little baseball stadium out there in Hillsborough. Intel's like going, what?
Yeah, that's the sad thing is just as they're about ready to fire, my elbow slipped. And next thing you know, it's hitting, where the Hillsborough Hops play. What? It's
Everyone knows it's not in Hillsborough. It's in Banks. Vernonia. The rebel base is in Vernonia.
Now let's go even more smaller. It's hiding out in a small alcove in Gaston. It's just out there.
The laser weapon turns. Peter Cushing is there on the bridge. You can fire when ready.
Yeah, I don't know if I should just fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. Yeah, there's a laser weapon. Yeah, like for real. It shoots. So
when are we going to get one down here?
We should.
We should get a laser weapon.
Well, what it does is it's fast because it's lasers.
Yeah.
Right. And what it's for is like, you know, they have like now drones and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then that could attack your ship.
Yeah.
Well, you need they have those really fast guns that shoot. You know, they've had those for years in the Navy. Those things that shoot like 1,000,000 rounds a second or something. You know,
like the Gatling thing where they just...
Yeah, and it's like super. But this is like even more so. It's just firing photons.
Yeah.
And so you would like fire and disrupt. And you could do different things. You could disrupt something or you could kill it or whatever. I've seen there's some demos you can watch. So the laser weapons exist. So there you go.
Okay.
The phasers.
Excellent.
Well, I don't know if that's excellent, Jason, but anyway, so I was thinking about all this, and I'm thinking, well, if you're a kid now in the 21st century, 2018, you're a kid, and you're watching the TV and all these different things.
Sure.
Well, what's your future technology that you're going to get when you're an adult?
Ooh, that is a very good question.
Because we got it mostly with Star Trek.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of hoping we'd get the warp drive.
What does the next
go to the stars, but, you know, wishful thinking.
Right. Or just a replicator. That'd be cool.
So the replicators actually that's actually a thing.
Isn't that the precursor, like with the 3D sort of?
Yeah, so I think the replicators, too, you could say generally coming online. Because, there's 3D printing, and the whole 3D printing thing to make things, that's a real deal. But there's also, like, they're like trying to make replacement hearts and stuff like that. So they're using proteins and things. So actually doing the replicator and making the food, I think is, and we talked about, they're making the fake meat, which is actually grown in the laboratory.
Yeah, I watched that thing you sent me last night about the guy with the Portland
barbecue
place.
Yeah, that's a vegan, vegetarian. That is a very good place. I highly recommend it. It's called Homegrown Smoker. They used to be a food cart years ago, and they're out there in St. John's. In fact, I watched it. Somebody posted it, and it's one of those internet news magazine things video, and it was like, oh, this is Homegrown Smoker.
Yeah,
you can go out there and get it. In fact, it made me hungry for Homegrown Smoker this week. I haven't been out there in a while. They got the best mac and cheese. Ooh,
I saw that.
It's real good. Yeah. Anyway, but I'm still trying to figure out what would be the technology that the kids would have in the 21st century.
I don't know.
Like, I'm watching Westworld right now, right? And they have like the brains and the computer. But that's been around for a long time. Like the virtual reality, you'd say virtual reality. Well, that's around. We've got that.
Yeah, it's just
all the mobile technology. Dick Tracy, the watch thing, that's Apple Watch and all that.
1930s,
Samsung Gear, that's all happening.
Yeah, video phone calls is now standard. Skype.
Well, that's a funny thing. Like in 2001, he does a video phone call and he goes to a phone booth and it's like, dude, just FaceTime your kid on your phone. You watch that scene in 2001. It's like, oh, I need to go to the phone booth. It's like, dude, let's FaceTime it.
Right with you,
But I'm trying to think what would be the future technology. Because that's the whiz-bang stuff that we dreamed about.
Yeah.
That we have. Yeah. What's the whiz-bang stuff now? Again, virtual reality, that's not so whiz-bang. Yeah. I mean, it's here already. All this stuff is here already.
But maybe more, you know what? Maybe it's more, it's maybe virtual reality, but it's more a sentient virtual reality, as in the fact of something like The Matrix.
Yeah, I think that's it. AI. I think the artificial intelligence, but again, that was still
Avatar.
Yeah, but all that stuff's happening now. Your kid's avatar right now. I mean, that's a gaming, Twitch, all that stuff. That's all happening now.
No, but I mean, like in the movie, the real avatar where you can inhabit and operate some remote bio-created being.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That one seems hard, though, like warp drive.
Or maybe it's the power of the mind. Maybe in the future it's like the telekinesis and all that.
But how is that different from the internet? How is that different from live streaming and doing remote control and stuff over the internet? Now, see, I think that's what that is.
I've got it.
Okay.
we evolve into a planet full of platypuses. They have taken over. They are the dominant species. Us humans, we are relegated to the past. We are nothing like ants being flicked off the shoulders of giant platypus men that run everything.
There was a really weird episode of Star Trek Voyager like that.
Was it?
Yeah, it was one of the worst. Actually, even the stars of Voyager, like everyone who was involved with that show was like, probably the worst hour of Star Trek of any Star Trek you've ever seen.
But it would be great. I mean, think about the platypus is God's cruel joke, right? A duck-billed platypus has, the beaver tail and everything. Yeah. It's like,
why don't we have one?
We need one. In fact,
why don't people have that as a pet?
They're the ultimate underdog. I want to see them take over.
So maybe I'm trying to think here. I think maybe the biology stuff, but again, that's William Gibson stuff. The whole replacement. Got my arm chopped off. Okay, we'll replace your arm. We'll grow you a new arm.
Or cloning.
That stuff, cloning is happening.
Yeah.
See, I think where I look, there's like computer technology and all that in VR.
Yeah.
I used to keep up a lot on computer technology, and I still do, but it's all very practical magic for me. It's very practical. It's not wow whiz bang stuff anymore.
It's all pragmatic.
It's engineering. It's just basic everyday engineering. Like the whole VR stuff doesn't excite me that much. Well, it's just an extension, and I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be like 3D. I don't think it's going to be as big as people think it is. Gaming and all that drives a lot of that.
Yeah.
But at some point, people got to take the goggles off. They don't like to. Right. I mean, to me, virtual reality will be Westworld. Yeah. It'll be like in the real. There's your virtual reality.
Well, even Star Trek, they had that one holodeck.
Holodeck. Yeah. So, it's going to be.
So let me ask you the ultimate question then.
The ultimate question.
The ultimate question.
When will you die? Wait.
The ultimate question. No. Do you think? I mean, because a lot of this stuff has come to pass through science fiction of the 30s, 40s. I mean, heck, even as much as back away as H.G. Wells, Do you think do you think we've reached the point now where we have kind of like the death of imagination?
Yes.
Because we all see this pragmatic side of it now, and we can all build upon what is already here. But is there any like young sci-fi writer out there that has posed a story or a thought that says, here's something mind-blowing that you've never even thought of?
I can't answer that second question.
Yeah, because I
can't answer the second question. I can easily answer the first question, that my opinion, and it's only opinion, is yes to your first question.
The death of imagination.
I think so.
Yeah.
And that's and I'm not trying to be a curmudgeon. Like, I'm seriously not trying to do the curmudgeon shtick where it's like, of course, you young kids, back in my day, we had imagination.
Get off my holodeck.
People had flying cars and
That's right.
You don't know how lucky you are, you Elon Musk babies. Who
names their kid Elon anyway?
Yeah, but I do think there's a death of imagination.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as a curmudgeon. I mean that actually intellectually and seriously. Mm-hmm. And I think if I sat back and I said, here's what backs up my points to the death of man. Right. And all I'd have to look to is a guy, Professor Douglas Rushkoff.
Okay.
I think I've got the actually right here. If you'd like to read a book...
Present shock, yeah.
I'm not going to zoom it in, but this is a book from a couple years back that he published, which I think... Did he... He might have signed this one.
So is that part of the...
Yes. Oh, look. It's got a sign.
Yeah. Is that part of the...
Present shock.
Future shock line?
Well, no. It's it is called Present Shock, which is a riff on Alvin Toffler's Future Shock.
Right.
It's called Present Shock, where everything happens now. If you want to go up, there's a talk up there, which I may or may not have filmed for you in New York City, of him talking about this. I should find it and link it in the show notes.
Excellent.
Where he talks about this idea almost, he doesn't really call it the death of imagination, but essentially it is the death of imagination.
Yeah.
Like once we achieved these things in the 21st century came along, there was always this thing. He even talks about clocks, about analog clocks, that you look forward.
Yeah.
Like you go, well, in another hour we'll be here. Yeah. Whereas a digital clock, you have no forward-looking thing. Rushkoff is great.
Okay.
You know, obviously I met him a few times and whatnot, and he's a great author, really great thinker, always entertaining. His other book, and he writes like a book a year, a book every 2 years. Throwing Rocks at the Google Bus was the last one he did.
I've heard of that one, yeah.
Nice guy, interesting guy. But he talks a lot about these things, and he thinks a lot about these things, and that was one of his things. It's just kind of like there is like this death of imagination. Like when we were kids, and he brings this up. You watch Star Trek and you think of things and you go, wow, in 20 years from now, maybe I'll have a communicator that I can, video phone Jason. Yeah. Hey, Jason, you know what I mean? You would think these things.
Yeah. What kid did you know that not in the 60s and 70s didn't dream about having their own private jetpack, right? The Jetsons and all that. Wow, when I get old, we're going to have jetpacks and we're all going to go flying around and it's going to be a wonderful galaxy and everything's going to be cool. No?
I just dreamed of having my own private Death Star and going out and vanquishing my enemies and their planets and everyone on it.
Jetpack. When I think big.
Exactly.
You know?
I was like, I would sit there as a kid going, there's a lot of bullies I'd like to turn that Death Star. And their families and their towns and their planets. Just wipe that whole thing out.
Okay, let me write this down in the memo. Don't let Doc near the new laser weapon on the USS Portland. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's great. Weird.
Yeah.
Gaston, it's just not there anymore.
Right.
It's as if it disappeared. That's impossible.
Right. You're on your way from Forest Grove into McMinnville, and it's just no longer there. You're like, hey, what happened to Gaston?
It's impossible.
Actually, that wouldn't be cool. My wife.
What about that great burrito food truck out there?
Oh.
Not there. Gone. Gone. All gone.
My wife has family that lives out in Gaston. So
I know.
Maybe I better think of another place.
You're the one who thought about it. It was this guy. It wasn't me. I didn't. I said Banks. But
or Vernonia.
I said Vernonia.
We could Vernonia.
There's nothing against. You know what? The more I'll tell you what I actually took a drive and I went out Damascus way and yesterday.
Yeah.
And I went out Gresham, and Google had me go out Damascus Way and all that, which was just beautiful. I mean, Mount Hood's right there on the highway.
Yeah.
212. Yeah. Like you're driving down the highway, you look up, there's Mount Hood.
Damascus boring.
Oh, it's beautiful out there. And it just, if Portland kind of gets you down with the silly and the everything, there's a lot of places outside of Portland that are just, still feel like Oregon. Good old Oregon.
That's right. This hour is sponsored by the Gaston Chamber of Commerce.
Right. Gaston, it would be one of those places. Vernonia, all these wonderful places.
Sure.
Just don't have your rebel base there, okay?
Right.
Because the USS Portland is going to laser that rebel base right the hell out of your little town.
Zot you out of existence.
Send the rebel base up to Kenton, Washington or something.
Right.
Battleground.
So everyone in
They're
Gaston.
on Battleground. They're in Battleground.
Everyone in
You're
Gaston
far too trusting. Yeah. Battleground is too far for a proper demonstration.
The more we...
So I'll turn this USS Portland laser weapon on your hometown of Damascus, Oregon.
Right.
No, right. The people of Damascus are peaceful. They've gone through all sorts of annexation and stuff. You can't.
Right. And
then I grow tired. Tell me, where is the rebel base?
I love it. Ensign Jenkins.
Yes.
Please give me a list of all the available targets. He's out there, he's up at the front, he's looking over his shoulder, I think maybe I don't think we can get Battleground, maybe Kalama.
There's like kids out in Gaston playing with their plastic lightsabers, like
hide it.
Right. Ooh. We should look up and see what ships would be coming in, and if one of them would be the USS Portland with its brand new laser weapon.
Yeah, during that time, it's like, woo! Now's the time to go camping.
Wow,
we're getting out of here.
Yeah, don't fly your like DJI drones next to that ship. It's like,
oh. Although maybe
I'll show you a little target practice.
Right. Bing, bing, bing.
My rebel scum friend.
That's right.
Oh my word! But see, again, all of this stuff exists today now.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. All this technology here is amazing.
It is.
I mean, we're broadcasting the universe right here.
Yep.
Hi, universe. Hello, Alderaan.
Alderaan. Tatooine.
But yeah. But what do kids think about in the future? Like, what is their future? What are they like when you think? Oh man, 20. Well, here's the other thing too.
Yeah.
And this was what Rushkoff had to say was, when we thought about the future 20 odd years into the future or whatever, 21st century, it was the future. It was like, no, that's going to be the future because we'll be in the 21st century. It'll be the 2000s.
Yeah.
That'll be some crazy stuff. We're going to be flying cars, Jetsons, Rosie the robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy out there.
Yeah, because just the name alone, millennium, gets you thinking, oh my God.
You think kids just wake up? Do you think kids just wake up, turn on their Twitch, watch some like people not want Minecraft? What are they doing right now? Battlefield, whatever the new one is.
Yeah. God of War.
There's always new ones every week that people are doing.
Yeah, God of War number 69.
God of War, okay, if you say so.
Yeah.
If they're just like turning that on their pad and whatever, and it's like they're getting on their Snapchat and stuff, and it's like, well, what will the future hold? And it'd be like, the future. It's 2018. We have a whole 1,000 years. We have a whole millennium till we got a century to 2100 and 22. You know what I mean?
Right. But if I'm a millennial now, I'm mad at my generation. Listen, guys, you guys came up with all the cool
I would start with being mad
stuff.
at the previous generations. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Let's start with Reaganomics, shall we?
Right, but it's almost like you promised me that I was going to have my own jetpacks and spaceships, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt.
That's right.
That
I 3D printed, but
right. But I don't know. I don't know what the kids today are looking for when they look down through the mists of the future, like we did when we were young. Like, wow, when we grow up, there's gonna be spaceships and it's gonna be Star Wars. It's gonna be great,
Yeah.
I don't know what kids today are.
But we got all this personal technology that we saw in the movies and the TV shows.
I think maybe the kids today, they're just gonna like, you dreamt of the future. We're the ones gonna have to clean up your past.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Clean it up.
Yeah.
We were gonna clean it up. That's exactly what I was coming to.
Yeah.
When you said it, is that it seems to me
slumber party's over. Now we got to clean up.
Yeah, it's great that all this stuff got invented and whatnot, but have you seen the trash heap mess that you've left here on Earth?
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think maybe that is it, which sucks, man. If you were, our generation was great. It's like, yeah, let's build some iPhones. What do you do with that packaging? Oh, just throw it over there. Look at,
Right. Virtual reality, the head.
Look at my Whole Foods. Woo! Look at all these mangoes. Just throw that packaging over there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you got like a whole generation going, hey, that's great. What's all this crap? All this packaging at my feet. You know?
Yeah.
Floating in the ocean.
It's like the mom after Christmas morning when everyone's opened up their presents and there's a huge mound of wrapping paper strewn across the living room floor. Somebody's
That's the
got to clean it
21st
up.
century.
Right.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually do think maybe that sucks if you're like,
yeah.
I mean, it's good. See, we had that though. I had that early on in the early days when I was a kid. We talked about that. We did talk about that. We talked about the pollution from the gasoline and all that stuff.
In the 70s.
Conservation. And the early conservation. Solve. Which was Save Oregon something beach. It was the beach cleanup thing, which became a national thing. Yeah. National beach cleanup.
Yeah.
But a bunch of stuff started in Oregon, The bottle thing, recycling the bottles and cans. Oh, guess what now? Guess what? You seen this one? The recycling? Oh, this is a good one.
Okay.
This is what the generation has to deal with. So we have the whole recycling. We've had that in place. Everyone's like, put it in the recycling bin. We all feel good about that little recycling icon.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Because we know it's going to go somewhere and be recycled into something else.
Yeah.
Like this water bottle is going to be recycled into my kids' diapers.
Right.
Maybe. All right, that's good. We like that. Well, now it turns out, where do we ship all that recycling to? China.
Yeah.
And what are they doing now?
Were they burying it?
Yeah, and sending it back. Now it's just trash again. It's not recycling. It's like, what the hell happened here, guys? We solved this problem.
Well, we thought we did.
That's kind
evidently
of fun.
We just outsourced it. And every time I see that, though, I think of the images you see of all the trash on barges, like in New York City. You know how they put on the trashes and they just send it out. You know, that's what I get the feeling it's done nationally and even globally.
Well, I mean, it's the whole thing about the this whole trash that's floating in the Pacific Ocean.
Did you see the thing? Did you see the article that was written the other day? They sent an unmanned robot thing down to the deepest part of the Marianas Trench, the bottom on the ground floor, the deepest you can ever go. And what did they find? Plastic trash. Can you believe that? I mean, when I read that, it made me kind of incredibly sad. You know, I was like, it's to the point now to where our trash is on the very bottom of the trench of the earth, and you hear about this massive, almost plastic continent floating out there in the ocean of our used debris.
Yeah, I was just going to look here because that has to do with the geologic epoch. We are in the Holocene, but which is part of the Quaternary. These are geologic epochs. These are like the thousands and millions of years, right? Like the Jurassic and the Paleolithic.
Is it epochs or epochs?
You know, that's a good... I say epic, but you're right. Could it be epoch?
E-E-P-O-C-H.
Maybe it's an epoch. See? Oh, it doesn't even tell you. Subdivision of geologic time. And the Holocene is what we have been in for a little while. It began approximately 11,650 years ago.
Just after the Ice Age.
Growth and impacts of the human species worldwide. So that is written history. So that is about how we've changed the planet.
Yeah.
And then there's a proposal that we have gone into a new epoch. Do you say epoch or epic? I don't. Epic is. You could be right.
Yeah.
I don't know. For a guy who can't pronounce dishevel.
I noticed one earlier instead of elevated. It was
so what
evelated.
The proposal? There is a proposal out there, and we may actually. People are saying we may be living in this now. And so the scientists have to get together and decide. On this, the geologists.
We need a Congress.
So we've been in the Holocene. The proposal is that we are in the Anthropocene.
Ooh.
Anthropocene, which is like Holocene, but new paper argues that we've already entered a new one, the Anthropocene, or New Man Epic. New Man Epic.
Yeah.
Human. The Nobel Prize winner. Recent human impacts, including habitat destruction, environmental pollution, and animal and plant extinctions, have been so great that they'll result in obvious boundary in Earth's rock layers. So, in other words, the way the geologists do this is they look at the layers and they go, well, look at this layer. Like, oh, you have the dinosaurs and the fossils, and then you have volcanoes and stuff, and then they get wiped out, and you go, oh, new layer, and so you. So the Holocene has been this new layer of human interaction. And then they want to do the which is even amps it up more, where it's like, no, humans totally have reworked the Earth.
Yeah.
Like there's very little Earth that's not reworked by human existence. In fact, arguably none at all.
Yeah, I could see that there's not only a case to be made for it. I mean, it is what we're living
It's carbon
through.
emissions.
Yeah.
It's carbon emissions, and the fact that, like you said, the reason I brought this up, because it's what you were talking about, this thing you were watching, you could go down to the bottom of the ocean and find little plastic particles. the idea,
the evidence of man.
Well, the idea that, and there was another paper, another thing that I read about where now we have spread so much plastic across the earth that in a million years or whatever, if you had geologists come down and do the layers of the earth and go, let's see what happened, you'll find a layer of plastic.
Yep. Yeah.
Along with chicken bones.
Chicken bones.
We've spread chicken bones across the earth. This was part of the paper of the see, now I can't pronounce it without reading
Anthropological?
Anthropocene, where the proposal to change it. Yes. One of the things they talk about is that we have raised so much chicken, and chicken is such a staple, like pigs, of human food for like 12,000 years or more, that you can find their bones all over the earth.
Okay.
Like, what do you do with the chicken bones? Again, your KFC, what do you do with it?
True.
True. Throw it back there. Throw it in the ocean.
We need to repurpose chicken bones.
Well, but see, maybe that's what the kids have to do. This is depressing.
It is.
See, every time I think about this really depresses me. Because it is like, okay, kids, what sort of VR brain implant thing do you want? And it's like, how about an Earth that isn't so screwed up by what we're doing?
Right.
And the thing is we have so much technology and so much information technology right now that we can do it. We can actually solve the problems. We because of physics, because of chemistry, because of quantum physics, or not so much, but we know how to break down the building blocks of everything if we can create it and we can repurpose it.
Yeah.
So
there's not the will for it. People don't care. They want their chicken, and you're right. You're absolutely right. They want their Colonel Sanders, but they don't know and don't care what happens to the bone after it's.
I think because in modern history, in 20th century and 21st century, I think in modern history the reason why is because I think the story of the 20th century really is, generally. I think the 20th century, if you go back later, historically, it will be the time where the third world ends. But the third world being the undeveloped countries and undeveloped cultures of the world. That the 20th century is really about that. You could argue that places like China, big places like China, were still very much third world condition in the 20th century.
Sure.
Where is China today? Very much not third world. Maybe some places, remote places.
Right.
It goes places in Mongolia. But they have, just a big culture like China has moved into the first world. Technology, economy, name it.
I think that's maybe part of it.
And most have. Africa, all these places that used to be way behind technologically, I think that the 21st century has brought that all forward, which has created more environmental stress on the earth.
Right. I'm gonna posit my own hypothesis here, and
welcome to Coffee with Brain, Curmudgeon. I don't know.
Coffee with Brain.
I've had my Monday coffee.
I'm Alistair Cook.
We're not being funny. We're discussing the ration. No, but that's actually something that I think is really an issue.
Yeah.
And I think, just look at China.
Yeah, but I think after it's all said and done and we are now millennium ahead, I think those in the future will look back at the 20th century, and I think it's going to be even more stark than that. I think it's going to be come down as the 20th century was the era where man had fully realized and fully created ways to extinguish themselves.
Yeah.
They're at the level where... This is the moment where man...
Well, I mean, the nuclear...
Exactly, yeah. I think that's what we'll be known for.
Breaking the nuclear code is it. That was like number one.
Right.
Like by the 40s, we went, oh, look at that. We could exterminate ourselves pretty well.
And maybe the 21st century will be what they're now, a term that's now becoming more into the mainstream is transhuman. where a human is evolving by enhancement of technology.
Yeah.
Because I've heard the transhumanistic movement where they embrace the further.
True.
So I don't know.
But the problem with that is it's directly related. God, we could make a formula. Dude, no kid, we could actually do sciencey stuff here. If we had an actual scientist here and not just a bunch of idiots. With no math skills or whatever, we could actually get someone to make this formula, because I really think this. Let me think about this. This isn't funny. Yeah. This is actually just thinking this through. Mm-hmm. My idea about the world, evolving through technology, through advancement, moving every culture and every area away from the third world. Because, for example, yes, there are still famines and things that happen, but they really shouldn't happen in the 21st century world. There's no reason that any culture should have a famine ever. There's no shortage of food to feed those people.
Right.
You can bring it in.
Yep.
There's plenty of it.
Yep.
It's just a political, social issue.
Exactly.
And this is what the whole We Are the World and all that stuff actually identified in pop culture, was hey, you know what? People actually don't technically need to starve. We got plenty of wheat and stuff from other places in the world.
And look how much is thrown away because...
Waste.
Yeah.
Tons of waste.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that drove the third world. The desire of places like China and stuff to modernize their culture and
India.
To get... And India, very much so.
Yeah.
Right? And Africa, South America, all those places.
Sure.
So all of that has moved. So I think there's an equation, right? Because an equation is a balance, this side, that side.
Yeah.
So there's an equation there that has to do with evolving the entire culture to modernity, having modern customers food, shelter, and then even modern communications and all that stuff, internet. And I mean, technology companies were responsible for, I know firsthand, would be hey, we want to sell computers to people, in developing countries. We want to set up cell phone sites and stuff so they could have the internet. All these technology companies, big technology companies, wanted to hook everyone up to the internet.
Which is happening
There's Facebook everywhere, whatever. Their internet. But even Facebook themselves, actually, that was one of their things they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Now currently, we're sending satellites up.
Yeah. Like
SpaceX and that are internet satellites to cover those areas of the world that don't have the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these guys, Musk and all these guys, have an idea that they want a whole satellite constellation where no matter where you're at, on Everest or whatever, you're going to get the global network.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so the equation of that happening would be directly related to evolving all human beings to a basic level of technology, and which is good, is that what you want, is then directly related to the equation on the other side of the stress on the environment of the earth.
Right.
Don't you think?
I think so,
I
sure.
wonder if anyone's done that one.
I don't think so. Or if they have, we haven't heard about it.
I'm going to look it up.
But...
that, actually, I think someone could write that equation.
They could.
Directly, go back through the 20th century and go, okay, here's why.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be climate change and all that stuff too. China is really I think the poster country for this, because when China moved into the market economy, then they built like crazy.
They did.
Cities. They were using up the world's concrete at one point. I remember there were concrete shortages because so much was going there. Their market economy was on fire.
But China is a funky country in that...
but it's an example of what I'm talking about.
Right. But over the last 10 years, the Chinese, believe it or not, as Maoist as everyone thinks they are, they have already come to that conclusion, and they have a way bolder they have a way bolder plan of dropping down their carbon footprint more than America's ever dreamed of. I mean, they're going to have to. They're actively building stations now out in the middle of the Chinese countryside to deal with all the waste and to try to deal with kind of an emission-free sort of solution to that.
It was a while back. I don't know where they talked about like smog and things like that in places like Shanghai. Which was a thing that we had here. I mean, we still have it LA, but there's like a lot of LA the laws and stuff that's the whole thing about Trump administration and coal burning plants and all that, because we see that as bad.
Rolling back.
But I'm just fascinated with that idea that it seems to me that there's an equation there.
There is.
Of this build out of technology, ramping up, bringing the whole world out of the third world, right? Because when we were younger, and even most of the 20th century, there are third world countries. And someone out there could argue, well, actually, this country is a third world country or whatever. That's fine. I think they're outliers now. Yeah. There's always outliers.
Sure.
And that's an outlier because of why? Politics, probably, for some reason. Didn't get to them. That's not the trend.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the 19th century, you look at colonization, the reason places got colonized by Europe was because they were third world countries. Europe had the technology and all that. It's nothing, we're just talking a history here. We're not like saying colonization is good or bad. We're just saying that that's why it happened. It was technologically advanced culture into a non-technologically advanced culture, and then probably ruin the culture that was there. But whatever.
So let me ask this then: with this equation,
I want this equation. Wow,
because this equation to me has to be.
Welcome to Science Friday. I'm Doc Normal, and I'm here with anthropologist
Hi, I'm Sparky,
Jason Sparky Allen.
Yes,
we gotta really like. It's a Monday. We're gonna really, really like
going there.
We're not like even like no, we're not. We're usually like we're like funny. We're talking Green Acres, and all of a sudden now I'm like proposing an equation. For the movement again based on this geological idea of the Holocene to the Anthropocene.
Yes.
This idea of, no, there's actually an equation here. Like, look at how this cultures on the one side of the equation have moved up, and then at the impact to the Earth, geologically, in the layers, has gone up.
Yeah. So I think this equation has to be fundamentally asked differently than Einstein did with his theory of relativity.
It needs a cool name, Jason.
There are super string theory guys like Michio Kaku that say the equation will be called the theory of everything.
Yeah.
And to me, it's not only going to have mass m, right? I think the new part of this equation.
Energy.
Yep. Since we were part of the anthropological evolution of man, I think the other part of that equation has to be, would have to be C. People say C. What's that? Consciousness. Mass human consciousness. The brains behind whatever.
But C
mass plus consciousness.
C is actually the speed of light.
Well, we're gonna
in
have
a
to
vacuum, Jason. That's what C is.
Or we'll do human. H.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know, man. I have to. I'm gonna look this up because somebody must be doing this.
Oh, I'm sure there is,
because it's actually the people who are like the climate, the people who are like really like politically all over this.
Well, they
the climate,
kind of already have. They've already said we've already reached the.
I mean, I know there's models. Right. I know there's models, but the model has to be related to the technological and economic growth. Like, had none of that growth happened, it would stabilize.
You're right. You're right. You would have to meld hardcore science with sociology, who can gauge the human equation part of it. Because that's why I say consciousness, because it's human consciousness is kind of an amalgam of stuff we don't even really consider much now.
So now the kids, like, rather than thinking Buck Roger and all this fun stuff, they're just like, my future is trying to clean this mess up.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's kind of depressing, guys.
Right. I know
no wonder kids are not happy.
Right. But doesn't that leave you with kind of a guilty conscience? Like, we're the guys that screwed up the party.
Yeah.
You know?
But I wasn't the guy who who didn't, I was the guy at the cocktail party who would go, by the way, this is really screwed up, and be like, shut up. My stocks just went up another 10%.
Yeah.
Okay, great,
Yeah, our generations of the guys.
Yeah, generations just take care of themselves. They don't care.
That's true.
It's like,
yeah.
As long as it's good for me,
yeah,
I'll be gone. You deal with that,
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's weird though. It's really weird. And part of that kind of this idea of the equation and the is if you look at, again, I keep saying China, Asia in general too. I want to say like Indonesia, places like that. If you and even in the Middle East, if you look at the growth that's happening there, it's all in those things that we did in the Western world and in the United States. One great, I would say, one great watermark of this. How tall are your buildings?
Oh yeah,
that's always number one. It's like, let's see. Who has the tallest building? Well, the tallest buildings are not in the United States anymore.
No.
So back in our peak of industrialization, right? I mean, we had the World Trade Center and all that.
I want to say Singapore.
Singapore. I should know this.
Or maybe Dubai or something.
I think it's Dubai.
How's the?
I'll give it to you.
The world's tallest building. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
It is the top 5 or. The top 5 or 8 are all in Asia and the Middle East.
Yes. Yeah, Sears Tower went all passe back in...
Oh, not even.
Back in the 80s.
So did Sears, too.
Right, as they're closing...
I think it is Dubai. Yep. 825-meter, 2,717-foot tall Burj Khalifa in Dubai.
Wow.
Since 2008.
Wow.
Since 2008.
Wow. So they are no Johnny come lately. They've been around for a bit.
Yeah, since 2008. That's weird. It's been 10 years because I thought.
Yeah.
I think there's here's the graphic here. Yeah, Burj Khalifa is still the tallest since 2008. Shanghai Tower is next. The Abraj Al Bait Towers. One World Trade Center is the 4th. Okay. A lot of that has to do with the spire at the top, right?
Yes.
It's not all building.
No.
So if you look at the spire, that's 1,776 feet, if I remember correctly. The other one, which is really kind of a cool building architecture, is the Taipei 101. That's all very has that kind of Chinese architecture.
Yeah.
Shanghai World Financial International Commerce Center. The one of my favorites is the Petronas Towers, the Twin Towers of Petronas. I think that's in Indonesia.
Nice.
So, I mean, look, you got 3 that are in China.
Yeah. Couple
Dubai. Yep. Yeah. I mean, so, so that's an example of this sort of growth.
Yeah.
I mean, these are, China, go back 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
Go back into the 20th century. China was not we're going to build giant buildings country. It was very rural.
Yes.
Much like the early United States going from the 19th to the 20th century.
Sure.
So what happened in the United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was 2 world wars.
Yes.
By the time we were done with the Second World War, that's when the United States was United States. First World War was a good test. But we were still relatively rural.
It was.
Agriculture was still
the
bigger deal.
Yeah. The
post World War II was the mass industrialization.
I agree. The Industrial Revolution had set in so far. We were still coming out of our agricultural based economy into a.
I mean, World War I actually did mechanize us a lot, but we kind of withdrew. We were still. I think agriculture was still our biggest industry, even after World War I.
I think so too, yeah.
But I think by World War II, I mean, then you have the 1950s and you have
it's a boom, yeah.
That's when, we had cars and all that stuff in the 30s and the 40s, but really, television, washers and dryers, all that stuff. The Eisenhower era, the interstate highway system.
That's right.
So... But those things just happened in China.
Well, also...
Those things have just happened in these places.
Yeah.
Like in the last...
Quick side note, you may be able to trace even further back with FDR's New Deal with, the Boulder Dam.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Very much so.
infrastructure.
Yeah, that all kind of that sort of 1940s...
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's hand in hand, definitely.
Yeah, but you're right. The global, I like to refer to it as a neo-colonization. Again, but this neo-colonization isn't done by countries who come in and look for natural resources or whatever. These are all now companies that have shown up.
And that's what's happening in China.
Entities. Right.
That's what's happening in China. So, I mean, again, it's like the world is now, in 2018, a very different place.
Yeah.
Here's another good example.
Okay.
Go look at, and you could probably look it up online by date. Go look at a satellite photographs of the entire world, both hemispheres, at night. Well,
Yes.
the hemispheres are at night. And you can look...
The little pinpoint light.
All the pinpoint lights with the cities. You can easily, if you look at China, for example, I would say... or these places, and like pull up, because they've been doing this for 20, 30.
Sure.
I mean, National Geographic, I think I remember, published the first one.
Yeah, ever since satellites could take pictures back.
In the 80s or whatever. Mm-hmm. You could probably see a progression of light.
Spreading.
In fact, there was even an article about light pollution on Earth and getting away, because if you can get out away from it, you can see the stars.
I read that.
Yeah. So I mean, all of these things are evidence too.
Yeah.
That's evidence of industrialization and modernization
and evolution
of the world. Yeah. And again, relative to the stresses on the Earth.
Yes.
I think I'm onto something.
No, yeah, you're
an equation.
You're absolutely
right. An equation, Jason.
Right.
I don't know what you'd do with the equation, other than you'd end up going, we're screwed.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's plug in some numbers. Let's plug in... it would be interesting, because it would be so anti. Wall Street would not like it.
No.
Because, see, then you'd plug in growth into the equation. Well, if we grow... Because Wall Street, right? It's always about growth.
It always is about growth.
And that's how it works. Growth. It's not sustained. No. It's growth.
But the bad thing is, since we live on a terrestrial planet, our growth by necessity has a ceiling unless we branch out into.
That's why those guys like Musk and all those guys and Bezos and stuff, they want to go like, well, maybe we should mine an asteroid or whatever.
Hey, they're.
But the thing is doing that is so much harder than doing it on Earth. It's like immensely harder.
This is nothing but
robots. Yeah. I don't know.
This is nothing but another version of Spain trying to find the new world.
We need. I don't know.
Excuse me.
I just this whole thing. Well, that was depressing.
Right. Now that we've lifted you up on a Monday.
I know. I just dropped facts on. I just dropped facts on you. Listen, I really did. I think. I'm not here. I'm not doing academic work, but I dropped pretty much generally accepted facts.
It wasn't just facts,
and it just
you were dropping truth bombs.
Oh my god,
truth bombs!
And now I think, well, what do kids look forward to? Cleaning up this mess. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know. To leave with a little.
I could drop another truth bomb on you that you're not gonna like.
Okay, go for it.
I believe in these developing world, I think in these developing countries, I could be wrong about this. That's the piece that I'm not sure about. It's just life expectancy.
Yes, we're starting to see now in the first world countries like America, we're starting to see its first drop in life expectancy.
That's not how that's supposed to work, people.
No, not at all.
Oh man.
But
this goes into our. We're going to go into our second and third hours of the show, where we're going to talk about economics, and then we need experts on here to really. This would be a good debate, because it really.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Yeah. Another thing that I noticed in kids, young people. It sucks that we talk about this. Like, Yeah, I just want to get young people. Do a show. Come here. Here's a subject. Go. Tell me. What do you think?
Right.
Debate this. How do you fix it? I mean, they're smart. You know, I always hated. I always hated it when I was a kid. I always hated it when people are like, those young kids, what do they know, right?
Yeah.
No, they're smart. They know. Actually, when you're younger, you have less BS.
Yeah, your filters.
Your BS filters are a little bit relaxed.
Cleaner.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
This goes back to this whole global economic structure and what's good. You know, because it becomes like, well, this is good. So you say, okay, well, these countries that were kind of backwards before, this is good for them, right? This is good for the Chinese people, right? They get everything. Well, okay, yeah,
sure,
right. Win-win, they say, right? Mm-hmm. But then when you're doing this equation where it's like, yes, but this is stressing everything else, and constant growth. Where are you going to get the growth? Where do you get the growth?
Yeah.
Because at some point on that other side of the equation, the Earth just goes, I give up. We're out. We're done, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you pollute the air and the water, at the end of the day, it's like, we're done. Good luck.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You have the Jurassic. You have the dinosaur situation. You have like, well, you know. And then the other part is like, well, maybe we need to adjust on the other side. Well, that adjustment is not a good thing.
No.
Right? That adjustment is the Logan's Run adjustment, right?
Right.
Then you're like, no!
Soylent Green.
Right. Then it becomes this dystopic
yes.
adjustment that you can't. No, that's not what we want to do either.
Right.
Right. We want people to live long and wonderful, healthy lives.
But I think
with clean air and water.
Yeah, but I think in general, and I'm going to be a little optimistic, and I know
I've just made myself intellectually depressed.
I'm going to get you right out of it. You ready for this?
No, man.
If I have any hope, all right, I think that hope lies in the future of the young. I think that they. I look at them today, and I am much more optimistic about where we're going to be heading in the future because. Just noticing from the generation that's coming up now that I can look to and see that they seem to have their heads a little bit more on their shoulders, and I got blinded by the whole all they're gonna do is sit around and play video games and whatever.
No,
not really. I think this future generation has a little bit more. Pragmatic, good, or as my grandfather would say, has a little bit more horse sense.
Yeah, while the older generation sits and watches like reality TV all day.
There you go. Yeah.
It's like, that's number one. That's my number one solution.
Don't get me started on that. Oh, gosh. Me and my wife, we go round.
Ban all reality TV. Let's start with that. And if you want reality TV, it's got to be science program. It's got to be like Nova or something. It's like, oh, here's your reality. We've replaced your Kardashians or whatever with Nova. Or, with science. There's your reality.
Right. Or if you want...
Or nature or bears.
Yeah.
Or like, but even fish.
But even reality TV, if you were turned on by reality TV, my advice to you guys is go and live it. Okay, you want it, go and live it, and you can have it as your own life model, whatever. That's you guys, but don't infect.
Well, it never uplifts anyone who's doing anything good.
No.
And it's always like, why do you care?
It's just drama.
It's just drama.
People like.
I think we need less drama.
Yeah, people like to stir the pot and sit back and watch it.
Drama.
Yeah. Save the drama for Einstein's mama.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
How do you know Einstein's mama was into drama?
She must. Well, maybe not, but I mean, she produced old Albert, so she must have something on the bean there.
Yeah, but maybe she was. I don't know.
Besides,
I think you're being a little denigrating to Einstein's mama.
She's passed away. She doesn't care. I know that's horrible. I'll write a cyber. I'm sorry. Post. Anyway, I do have some hope for the youngest.
Oh, I do too. I think I'd like to find a way to help.
Yeah.
To be like, okay,
Yeah.
But anyway, I got nothing. I mean, here I was like, we're talking about Star Trek and all this stuff, and then it's just
the balloon just kind of.
Yeah.
But that balloon is going to fill back up over this week, and we'll be back on Friday.
In our actually not so much.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's probably going to be a repeat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In our world,
they don't know that.
In our world, it would be we would be doing this, and this would be the Rod Serling moment when then people come down in flying saucers and fix everything or not fix everything. That's pretty much how that works with us, right? It's like, oh, this is the flying saucer moment.
Yeah, we're looking for the kindly, benevolent aliens, and meanwhile, it's turned into like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where they're just gonna blow us up. And
it's like, Carl Sagan and those guys used to say, it's like, why do you think that someone who could travel across the stars would come to Earth and be interested in you?
Yeah,
you would imagine that they've evolved through all sorts of problems that you can't imagine. You'd just be an ant.
Yeah, I mean it's almost like the tourist couple bypassing Disney World so they could show up to some bluegrass onion picking festival in some backwater.
You'd be like, look, you heard Beethoven, right? You heard John Coltrane, that was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but we also saw Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And it's like, oh, well.
Right.
All right, I know.
You had us till Kardashian.
Yeah.
In fact, we can blame the downfall of humanity at this point on the Kardashians. We might as well. We need a scapegoat, and let's make them the scapegoat.
Kanye's a Kardashian.
Yeah. He's
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh my God. I usually like to end on a happy note, and I got nothing. I mean, I just really bummed myself. It's figures. It's a Monday. Mondays are always. We're actually supposed to be here and make people happy. But, and I looked at the news, and it's like there's another new volcano.
Yeah.
In Guatemala.
Yeah, that just blew. Yeah.
So the Earth's bad.
So the Earth's bad. There's that.
Yeah, I mean, there's weird news of the weird. It's summertime. People don't care. They don't want to deal with the news. Do you think? I don't know. There's all that North Korea stuff, which I don't know.
Well, here's what we can do to make it happy. just put on some Coltrane and.
You know what? Oh yes.
Put on some Coltrane.
Actually,
these are a few of my favorite things. The whole thing he does.
I did that just the other day, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Highly recommended. A Love Supreme.
That's the good.
1966.
Yeah.
Love Supreme. Yeah. Probably one of his. Yeah, I mean, a lot of great stuff.
Seminal,
but probably like his master.
Yeah. For me, it's also Miles Davis, Kind of Blue.
Yeah.
I put on Freddie Freeloader and just kind of zip out.
Yeah, I didn't just get a message like smile. We are smiling. Right. We're talking about like the end of the world, but yeah, the love. I mean, I don't know if I could play it. See, that's the thing. You could probably play that because it's old enough that people don't care. I mean, I found it on YouTube, so you can actually just listen to the whole album.
I Love Supreme.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed out the other day, and then I
put that on and
you
know what I listen to?
I think you got to like jazz though, and some people don't like jazz.
When I
recognize that some people don't like jazz.
No,
you're all wrong. But,
right? Yeah.
The
rest of humanity sucks. But no, when I want to get in a good mood, I listen to Bob Marley. Don't worry about a thing. Everything is gonna be all right.
Jimi Hendrix.
Electric
Ladyland.
That doesn't. But Bob Marley, man.
One. Yeah, there's a lot of good music you can listen to. Listen to classical music.
Yes, Chopin.
Last night, I don't look it up. The Westworld, which is going on season 2. They slipped in a little Wagner.
Ooh,
I noticed. I was like, oh, is that Wagner? Is that what you're playing?
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with some. Well, you can because Wagner's always like Rise the Valkyries.
Yes, you can.
And here comes the choppers and napalm.
Yeah,
you know.
I know. See, we can't even talk about Wagner because that gets into a whole can of worms.
No, yeah.
It's just like, well, that's really cool music, but what's all this other stuff around it? It's like, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, we better.
We're just like, where's the?
We better.
I should come with some joke. Wait a minute. Oh, it's not in here. Damn it!
Oh, the joke book.
The joke book. We needed the joke book.
Yeah, it was once here.
I got it.
Okay.
I just realized.
Let's ask.
We've technology.
There you go.
You can.
There you go.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
Should we go? Echo, tell us a joke.
What do you get if you cross a sheepdog with a daisy? A cauliflower.
Echo, tell us a better joke.
Why was the man at the barbecue so happy? He met the girl of his dreams.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Should we give it one more chance? Baseball rules?
I'm going to try something here.
Okay.
Folks, cover your ears. Echo, tell us a dirty joke.
Excuse me, waiter. This coffee tastes like mud. Yes, sir. It's fresh ground.
But
that's horrible.
All right, we're gonna have to save this.
Technology has failed us now too.
No, we're gonna get you back into a happy place. Are you ready?
God.
Echo, sing us a song.
A song? I'd love to. Your circuits are fused, you're feeling confused. Why, oh why, oh why, oh why? But I'll be right here to lend you.
And it's in the English voice.
Yeah?
It's in the English voice.
Feel more than something your heart quickly thumb.
Stop.
Just trying to help you.
Now it makes me sad that next time I'll put it in German.
That would be great.
It'll sing like 99 Luftballons.
Oh, how come it sounds like Marlene Dietrich?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what? I need to cheer myself up.
Yes.
And I'm going out with a different outro.
Excellent.
So, let me set it up here. I just really don't care anymore. God, I can't believe how cranky I am.
I was trying to help him sing a song.
No, I know.
You know.
Echo's, those jokes are horrible. Maybe but again, it's English Echo.
Yes.
Maybe the other one, the U.S. or the...
Maybe we need
like New Zealand would be like...
Ooh,
India. Let's look at...
That would be
That's got a good voice.
Yeah.
Wow. This is the part where we...
Well,
all right. Well, anything good? I guess there's the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, big surprise. Golden State is
tonight.
up by 2.
Yeah.
Is it tonight?
Was it tonight or was it last night?
No, it was last night.
Okay, then it'll be tomorrow night.
Up by 2.
Something I can be happy about this week. I got right now whisking its way from some weird warehouse somewhere in the Midwest. I have my brand new Detroit Tigers hat on its way.
Oh, Detroit Tigers.
Detroit Tigers. I'm gonna follow them now. I still like the Cubs.
Okay.
But the Tigers are gonna be my American League team because Detroit needs some love. They are the ultimate American underdog.
That's why you...
I am. I'm a big fan of underdogs. And Cubs won the series. They're no longer the perennial,
Right.
Red Sox have won the series. Now it's time for Detroit to get some love.
I remember this from the past.
So I'm with...
see, this doesn't go back.
I'm with you, Motown.
This doesn't go back to the old guys.
Yeah.
Well, I can't see it here. There were some famous guys. Ty Cobb.
Ty Cobb
was a Detroit Tiger.
Yep.
Al Colleen.
Mm-hmm.
Miguel Cabrera.
Yep. Miguel Cabrera.
Hank Greenberg.
Ronald Floor.
Alan Trammell. Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander.
Verlander, yeah.
Lou Whitaker.
Mm-hmm. Lou Whitaker. Yeah.
Charlie Gehringer.
Yeah. Kirk Gibson, I think, even played for Detroit before.
Kirk Gibson.
Before he made his way to the
Willie Horton.
Yeah. Willie Horton.
Jim Bunning.
Jim Bunning.
I had his card.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
These are all the famous Dizzy Trout. Come on.
That's a great
Dizzy
name.
Trout.
My name is
Dude,
Dizzy
if you're
Trout.
going to play baseball, and if you're going to be a pitcher, your name better be
Dizzy.
Dizzy Trout. Not just,
Yeah.
Dizzy matched up with an animal name.
Yes.
Jim Northrup.
Northrup? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I
those are all the several famous Detroit Tigers.
I like Detroit Tigers. I feel for them. So I'm now I'm with the Motor City now.
Yep.
Me and the Motor City.
Well, I've got the ending of the show.
Excellent.
Ready to go.
Excellent.
And everybody try to be happy out there. We're sorry.
Come on, get happy.
What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? All right. Well, I'm going to cheer this place up.
Oh, toodles, everybody.
See y'all later.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
New York is where I'd rather stay. I get allergic smelling hay. I just adore a penthouse view. Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue.
The chores.
The stores.
Fresh air.
Times Square.
You are my wife.
Goodbye, city life.
Green Acres, we are there.